Morning, everybody. Welcome on into the Central Committee. I forgot to hit the unmute mute button. Professional streamer Mike from PA. We are here. Well, oh, that's not it. What the fuck? Okay. Welcome on in. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. It is election eve. And what a day. What a day for all of us here at the Central Committee, where the Mike was rights are going to begin again. I'm sorry to all of my fellow political streamers. Have you tried being correct? I would love to be able to say you were right. Just be right for once, and then I can hype you up. Okay? Can you try being correct? And then I will be able to go, wow, you should really listen to so-and-so. They really make really good political predictions. It's hard for me to hype people up when they're not right about anything. Has anyone heard from Eric Adams recently? No, he was given his bribe to drop out, so he dropped out. What do you? And that's that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A vote for Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. And here's the proof. Just this past March, Sliwa was openly supporting Mamdani to be elected Democratic representative. So is Sliwa staying in the race just to help Mamdani win? We're so close to winning this election, even with Sliwa still in the race. But it will only happen if everyone gets out and votes. Okay, chat. Over the weekend, and I believe late last week as well on stream, I don't know if anybody, Absolute Cinema, we've already added this. We already added it. What do you mean? Absolute Cinema, of course it's been added. So, wow. Let's go, Mike. So, we have a lot of Zohran hype here. This is the home of Zohran hype. And I was the first streamer to say he was going to win as well in the primary. Hello, King. I'm a first-time viewer, and I've seen some of your takes through Hassan and really liked your commentary. Excited to be a regular viewer. Welcome on in, brother. So if you're a new viewer to me, I will say this. I'm a little bit more putative than Hassan. I want the fascists to be smashed. And I'm more pro-China. And I'm not as much of a doomer. I'm more of a bloomer. So if that sounds like something you would fuck with, welcome on in. But you aren't going to China. I know. Honestly, I can't believe I'm not going. This is not a political event. It was a memorial for 15,000 elderly who died of COVID-19 nursing homes. What the fuck? The Economist. China's consumers are facing a new threat. You guys want to hear what the new threat is?
Governments complain when prices are too high. But in China, the government's angry that prices are too low. This has come about due to...
Guys, I'm able to buy too much stuff. I can afford groceries. I can afford housing and healthcare and education and food. Ah! The capitalists are making enough profits. Bad companies are going out of business. What? No!
To a phenomenon called involution. Companies are cutting prices to gain market share.
Companies are competing with each other, and it's helping raise the standard of living. No! Don't you understand the price is supposed to go higher and standard of living is supposed to go down?
It's forcing everyone else to do the same. As a result, profits have plummeted, and no one's market share is any higher. This fight for survival has gone beyond normal market competition. That's because many of the firms have been nurtured.
One of the things that's really fun about being a well-educated socialist, I love being a socialist. And I love being a political commentator online. And the online left isn't that annoying when you get to know them, I swear. However, one problem is a lot of the people that talk about politics online, I don't know why they're famous. And I mean that in a nice way. Because many of them have no idea about kind of like, what does mainstream economics believe about anything? So one of the things about being a socialist in my worldview is that you're supposed to critique all that exists, right? But the problem is a lot of the people that have adopted the label of socialist don't even know what exists, and they don't know what arguments are made in defense of the status quo, which makes them very weak as political commentators and very bad at persuading people to socialism, in my view. Call me an asshole, if you will. Now, under neoclassical economics and the assumptions that are made therein, under perfect competition, the free market is supposed to have a few things, right? And a perfect market has zero profit. I'll say that again. Under the neoclassical economics that you learn in school, under a perfect market, there is supposed to be zero profit. Profit is a sign of some sort of adjustment needing to be made. Now, you look at that and you laugh hysterically. You're like, actually, isn't that the whole point of the free market or capitalism, to make profit? And the answer to that is yes. Now you know why neoclassical economics doesn't really describe the world as it is, but rather a set of ideologically motivated assumptions. That's why they suck at this. That's why our economy is seemingly getting worse for regular people, because economics is not, the economics profession, neoclassical economics in particular, is not set up to describe the world as it is. It is designed to set up models to defend the policies of the status quo, or what the billionaires want to happen. Okay, it's not actually measured against testable hypotheses. That's why economics is a soft science. So when they say it's a problem that profits are going down, this is something that has been known both in neoclassical economics, and this is also something that Marx noted, which was the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. Why is that happening? Well, because profit comes from exploitation, chat. Exploitation is basically, I'm giving you a lot of terms, but this is necessary for you to understand economics in order to critique it while calling yourself a socialist, okay? A lot of people adopt the socialist label. They have no fucking idea what they're talking about. So I'm trying to make you smarter than right now, you are smarter than 99% of the people who talk about politics online, just from those 5 sentences I just gave you. All right. So where was I? Oh, yes. So The Economist, which is supposed to be the highbrow, centrist, pro-capitalist magazine, is publishing a video about how the decline of profits means it's not a normal market. And furthermore, as I was saying, Marx noted one of the features of capitalism is a tendency for the rate of profit to decline. Why will profit decline? Because automation actually paradoxically reduces profit, because profit is derived from the exploitation of labor. So the more automation you have, the more machinery you have, the less opportunity there is for exploitation, therefore the less opportunity for profit. And so in China, because the Communist Party of China does not allow rentier capitalism, it doesn't let people set up toll booths and make profits from like pseudo-governmental intervention, but rather it foments vicious competition between firms. Chinese capitalism, or that is controlled Chinese market state capitalism, is it's a thunderdome for capitalists, and the beneficiaries are humanity, right? The capitalists are forced to make profits by making innovations, but those innovations then spread out. So a firm makes an innovation, it gets some profit in the short term. It spends more capital on innovation, and so it gains a structural advantage for the short term. But then those innovations rapidly proliferate through the market, and unfit firms fail quickly. And so you have this like super capitalism. But the thing is, it's bad for the capitalists. They hate this shit. This is the opposite of what they want. For the capitalists as a class, identifiable individuals, they hate this shit. And then the Communist Party is constantly coming in and knocking capitalists down, preventing them from achieving political power by encouraging and fostering more competition, by taking state ownership of enterprises that are structural to the economy. So the capitalist class is constantly getting bonked on the head by the Communist Party. They're constantly kept in their little thunderdome, competing with each other, reducing profits, increasing efficiency, lowering prices. And The Economist is framing this as a problem. And the reason why The Economist is framing this as a problem is because it's good for humanity, it's good for consumers, it's good for the standard of living and productivity of China, but it's bad for the profitability of foreign capitalists. They're not able to extract rents from China by exploiting labor.
by China's local governments. Industries like solar panels and lithium batteries have become world-leading. But this has resulted in an oversupply of these goods and not enough customers to meet the demand. One example is the car industry.
Can you imagine? By the way, they're saying that China is producing too much solar panels. I have a question for you, chat. Who here feels like you have too much electricity and it's too cheap? Raise your hand if you have too much electricity and it's too cheap. That you never keep your thermostat too hot or too cold to save money. Raise your hand if you fucking love how cheap electricity is and there's too much. The answer is there isn't too many solar panels. American capitalists have manipulated our government to prevent Chinese solar panels from being sold to me. I want Chinese solar panels. I want them right fucking now, but I'm not allowed to buy them at a market price. And so what happens? It means everyone else in the world there's more solar panels for them to buy because I'm not allowed to buy them. Same thing with Chinese car EVs. I want to buy a Chinese EV, but I'm not allowed to buy it because Ford and GM and Stellantis cannot compete.
Now 130 domestic car companies battling for sales. Discounts are so steep that you can buy this electric car, the BYD Seagull, for less than $8,000.
By the way, chat, this is a problem. A brand new electric vehicle for $7,800 in China, and that is a problem?
That might sound like a great deal, but households should think twice before being too happy about cheap prices. As profits have come down, wage growth has stalled, and employment looks weak. China has been here before. A decade ago, it also suffered another long spell of falling industrial prices. Back then, the government cut capacity in industries like steel and coal to limit production. It was a crude measure, but effective. Prices rose and profit margins increased. But this time around, involution is more widespread.
Chad, if prices are falling, that means your wages go further. Do you understand that? That means that your paycheck is actually growing. If prices are going down and your paycheck remains the same, that's the same thing as your prices going up slightly and your paycheck going up faster. That's the same thing. This is The Economist. If you could get more shit with less money, your standard of living has gone up, even if your wages have gone flat. This is the dumbest bullshit I've ever seen in my entire life. And reminder, chat, 95% of Chinese people own their own home. Student loan debt is basically unheard of. So this is another example of America has shut itself off from these cheap goods because we're trying to swing our dick around because, ooh, scary socialism. So our prices are skyrocketing. Our employment situation is getting worse. Our economy is getting worse, but the billionaires are making a lot of money. They've made 900 billion this year. So that's good. But in China, the billionaires are not making as much money, but everybody's able to get more bang for their buck. Everybody owns their own home. They're seeing beautiful infrastructure projects spring up all around them, whether it's 30,000 miles of high-speed rail, whether it is they've built more solar panels in the last 6 months in China and installed them than we have in our entire history in the United States. They're seeing brand new metro station after metro station, brand new public transit, brand new highways, brand new ports, brand new airports. Pollution is going down. Traffic is getting better. Traffic congestion is going down. On every measurable expression of human flourishing, they are getting better. Crime is going even lower. It's the lowest rate of crime in the world now. Low crime, everyone owns a home, public transit's going up everywhere, renewable energy everywhere. They're building a super smart grid that has connected the entire energy market of China. So when wind blows and the sun shines in the Golan Desert, it gets transmitted all the way across the country to the port cities. Have almost no electricity loss because of the ultra high voltage direct current lines they've installed. They are building a run of the river dam in the Tibetan plateau, which will provide enough energy. I think it's something like 30 times the Hoover Dam, and it's a run of the river, which means it's not creating a large reservoir. It's not destroying the, native species. It's not, this is just insane. It's watching insanity. This is watching propaganda for the capitalist class and hoping you're not wise enough to know what they're even talking about.
The companies involved are often privately owned, so the government has less control over them. They also operate in high-tech sectors with shiny new facilities, not like the dirty, outmoded plants that the government shut down last time. An alternative response to involution is just to flood foreign markets with goods.
So what he's saying, flood markets with goods. This is supposed to be globalism. What? I thought the best firms should win. I thought that was the whole thing when us on the left were saying NAFTA is bad because it's going to force American unionized workers to compete with low-wage workers all around the world. Then you were like, yes. Why? Because capitalists were profiting. But now that you have a country with a communist party in charge, making sure that the Chinese people are benefiting as opposed to foreign capitalists, suddenly it's flooding goods. Suddenly international trade is a problem.
But trading partners are pushing back. Ultimately, the best response to falling prices is to boost demand, not to curb supply.
Isn't that what exporting does? Is it exporting boosting demand?
China's leader, Xi Jinping, is wedded to his vision of China as a manufacturing powerhouse. Even if customers are hard to find, manufacturing is a big part of China's economy, and he doesn't want it getting any smaller. If that's the case, Mr. Xi won't solve involution without a bit of introspection.
This is all I could say, Chad, is China is winning because they have the capitalists serve the country instead of having the country serve the capitalists. Pathetic. All right, let's move forward, chat. We have election day. Ladies and gentlemen, have said that I predict that my range is, I believe that Zohran will be between 52% and 60%. My formal prediction is he will get 56% of the vote. And my analysis basically, oh my God. Sorry, chat. Oh, sex pestity. Sorry, chat. We were boosting some sex pestity posts. Basically, he's been hanging out with this meth head racist. Brought her to his a literal Nazi who was calling people the N-word at the Unfuck America tour that he's been trying. He's trying to replace Charlie Kirk. Ugh. Anyway, where was it? Ah, here we go. Oh wait, this is the old one. What's the up-to-date one, chat? Did I not retweet it? It's okay. It's okay. We'll make a post. We'll make a post together. There are more people voting in this early vote. The last day of early voting was higher turnout in the 2024 presidential election for young people. And so far, the total turnout for this election for young people is 14.4%. That is 130% of the mayor's election total turnout, including election day in 2021. In other words, we have already seen 30% more turnout among 18 to 29-year-olds, and we haven't even seen election day. Ladies and gentlemen, and the lowest rate of turnout compared to 2021 is among boomers and Gen X. Gen Z and millennials are showing up. I predict that my range is, I believe that Zohran will be between 52% and 60%. My formal prediction is he will get 56% of the vote. Is this a side he's going to win since the worms are coming in? What's this? I mean, there you go. I believe that. Obama offers to be Zohran Mamdani's sounding board if he wins. Stay away from him. Bro, he did it. Obama still has not endorsed Zohran. I'll be your sounding board, but I'm not going to endorse you.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treating?
Not according to my job resume.
And where's your costume?
Duh, I'm a socialist.
Hey man, just one piece of candy per trick-or-treater.
Oh,
Okay, first of all, if you're doing fun-sized candies and you're only giving out one, like, that is, I'm sorry, but that's brokey behavior. And if you have a fucking brownstone, if you live in a brownstone, like, you should be handing out full-size candy bars. Like, what the fuck is this?
I'm so sorry. I need to take 52%.
For what?
For the government.
You can't be serious. What's wrong with you?
Go away! Defund! This is insane. You are ruining Halloween.
Yeah. And I'm about to ruin New York City if you make me mayor. See, I'm a socialist. Some people need to get tricked, so others get a treat.
God, that guy was crazy.
Socialists are terrifying.
Can I just say that they're fucking right? I'm coming for you, motherfuckers. I'm exactly the socialist everyone's been warning you about. And I'm going to do exactly what they say that we always do. They're right. They're right, bitch.
Sir, we told you to go away.
What?
Relapse. It's just me, Curtis Sliwa, the red beret guy running from there with no shot of winning.
Then why are you dressed like that other guy?
Because at this point, I'm so far behind.
A vote for me is a vote for Mom Donnie.
And that's the scariest thing of all this Halloween.
Anyway, I hope you guys have enough candy. Each of my cats is dressed up as a different cat from the musical Cats.
I'm voting for Cuomo.
Same.
Come on, let me in. My cats are hungry.
Paid for by Cuomo for NYC.
We got Curtis Sliwa over here. We got Zohran Mom Donnie. Hello. And we got Andrew Cuomo. We're going with these three guys.
I love New York.
I love you too.
And remember, the name is Mom Donnie.
You heard it
Mom
here first.
Donnie.
You heard it here first. Everybody, everybody! Oh!
There was another piece of information that I wanted to show you guys that it's just proof that I was right. And what I mean by that is we were right. We were right. If you look at the evidence, let me see if I can do this here. The fuck are my posts? I made a post about voter registration I want to show you guys this weekend because it's while I look for it, watch this. This is while Cuomo was finishing his campaign.
America deserved 9/11, dude.
That's Zohran's buddy, Hassan Piker, saying we deserve 9/11. It's a disgrace to every life lost. Zohran went on Piker's show, and now Piker was just spotted at Zohran's event. Mom Donnie is wrong for New York. Paid for by 4R City.
America deserved 9/11, dude.
That's fucking stupid. The way he says it, the fact he's wearing the Malding cutoffs, bro. Just everything about that. Early voting has been completed. 335,317 people have voted. That's more than 4 times the early total in 2021, and it's 67.5% of the early voting total in 2024. Borough-wise, Manhattan is at 75%. The Bronx is at 51%. Brooklyn is at 70%. Queens is at 65%. And Staten Island is at 50%. Manhattan's turnout went up 440% from 2021. The Bronx went up 300%. Did you see this? Yes, I did see this.
I'm on call, got the plug and a big endorsement. Met a plug about it all, then I made a fortune. Running plays out the vault, spinning out the orbits.
You came in the middle of a song,
like
man. I'm sorry.
on the money stairs. I'm real hungry, metabolic, want the pot and pan. Sushi in a ramen bowl like I'm in Japan. It's new weight, got a beat, I'm a body slam. I've been fit for the pace in the lane. It's no blind spot, seeing all the grind in the chase. But in the hindsight, it's looking like I'll dine in the bay. What's going on with the songs like I'm Marvin Gaye? Got a blueprint like Hove, trying to roll 1J. I use a tong just to smoke up, clips to AK, seeing roaches on the stove. I wipe it, the toe, cook up.
I think one of the things that people really, and now that he's gonna win, Zohran is an expression of our political power. Now, obviously, the people in DSA New York, the people of New York City, Zohran himself as a candidate, the amazing campaign he put together, but he is a representation of our political power, our victory. This is the most important municipal election in the entire country, mayor of the largest city in America. And not only are we winning, this is someone who was at 1%. before he went on Hassan's show. 1%
Feel it out there.
Reiterating criticism for Zohran Mamdani's association with online personality Hassan Piker, who said America, quote, deserved 9/11.
Hassan Piker was invited to Zohran Mamdani's rally yesterday, or he was at the rally. I think that is insulting to all New Yorkers.
New York One spoke to Piker Sunday night at Mamdani's campaign rally about Cuomo's criticism.
I think it's totally appropriate for Zohran to condemn those remarks. I mean, I've apologized for those remarks all the way back in 2019.
He slammed Cuomo for getting Bill Maher's endorsement, highlighting the comedian's 2001 comments when he compared the U.S.'s military actions to that of the 9/11 hijackers, arguing they were not, quote, cowardly.
I don't think that anyone would say, oh, how could you get endorsed by Bill Maher? Oh, once after 9/11 said those people that flew the planes into the towers were brave. Those were the remarks of Bill Maher 2 weeks after 9/11.
A Cuomo spokesman said the campaign was not aware of Maher's statements.
What? It was one of the most famous cancellations in history. It's so funny because Bill Maher is constantly bitching and moaning, complaining about college campus cancellations, and the only time he was ever canceled was because of conservatives whining. He's such a bitch-made fucking pussy, and I would love to make that argument to his face. All right, chat, I want to... And one of the things that you really need to keep in mind is it's not only an expression of our political power, but it's an expression of Cumtown's political power. Zohran Mamdani has officially received the endorsement of all 3 members of Cumtown. All right, this is the okay. Watch this.
I want to take a moment here. I just want to ask everyone in this crowd if you can raise your hand if you have been called a terrorist while living in this city.
Very right.
If you can raise your hand if you have had to deal with your name being mangled every day that you go into work.
Theo and I were called terrorists by leftists just last week.
If you have ever been made to feel less than because of who you are, because of where you came from, because of what you believe in, this is why these words offend me, because they are about all of us. We are not just saying goodbye to a disgraced former governor on Tuesday. We are saying goodbye to the politics of that disgrace. So are you ready to fight? Are you ready to win? Because we have 3 days.
Let's do it.
3 days. And we know that while many of us have thought deeply about this election for more than a year, there are many New Yorkers for whom now is the time they will start to think about it. So my friends, it is in our hands. It is up to us. We must ensure that on Wednesday we do not wake up and ask ourselves, what if? What if I had knocked on one more door? What if I had called one more family member? What if I had made one more call? What if I had signed up for one more shift? My friends, it is in our hands. Let us use them to win this election. Thank you so much.
What a king. What a campaigner. And this is something that I want to show you, chat, is that in every other city, every other state in the country, the Democrats are pretty much falling off. But in New York, they are surging. Just this month, the Democrats have gained 146,000 new voters because of Zohran. But across the river, across into New Jersey, it's a completely different story. Republican voter registration is surging as a centrist Democrat campaigns. New Jersey, Democrats have young people fired up. They have a whole generation of people coming out of the woodwork. They have all sorts of new voters registering as Democrats. But across the river, across the bridges and the tunnels in New Jersey, Republicans have gained 164,000 voters over the last 4 years. Meanwhile, in New York, in 1 month, under Zohran, the Democrats gained 150,000 new voters. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an untapped wave of young people who want to believe. But we need candidates like Zohran. We need far left candidates who are against Israel. That is the path forward. That is the only path forward. And it's not my opinion. It is in the numbers. Demos are going to take worse lessons from this. They're going to think they need a charismatic politician and not learn anything from his policies. Well, of course they're going to say that because that's what the donors want. But if they could find who's charismatic on the left, who's charismatic in the center. Being a centrist drains your charisma. You become corpo speak. This is Zohran over the weekend at the gay bars.
Are we ready to beat Andrew Cuomo? Are we ready to win a city we can afford? Are we ready to make history? Let's go out there and do it. Thank you, my friends. Are we ready?
The aura. Can you imagine Cuomo going into a random gay bar? The Democratic Party hates people that are popular. They really, really do. And the reason why Zohran is popular is not because he's charismatic. It's not because he's hot. It's not any of these other things. It's because of what he stands for. And that's the difference. If you stick with the centrists, Republicans are going to gain and win more power. If you go to the left, we will win power. New Jersey messed up. They had a primary that had one candidate with Zohranish policy and one candidate with Zohranish charisma, but they split the left vote and the center leftist won. Yeah, I know. That's a problem. And that's why I am, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying that AOC is going to be the candidate of the left. So how do we make AOC better? That's what we need to figure out. How do we make AOC better? And that is the reality. I think a lot of people get mad at me for saying this. Mike is right. I've been saying this, by the way, for 5 years. So this is not something that I want to be true. It's just, it is true, and I'm telling you early so you can prepare. Now, if you want to rebel against reality, rebel all you want. So friend of the show, Walter Masterson, went to an anti-Zohran rally.
I'm at the anti-Zohran rally in Union Square.
Yes, I will be covering Omar. Yes. Actually, I was going to do that after this.
This is one of the smaller rallies I've been to, and it's starting to rain, so it's going to get smaller.
A little respect. Have a little respect. I don't even like Zohran. I'm a Cuomo fan. Every single one of you are fucking pedophiles. You all support pedophiles. Hey, I don't even like Zohran.
Look how few fucking rally goers there are. There's no one there. 0 fucking people there.
What is everyone's plan to lower grocery prices? Isn't this the Zohran?
Come on, get the illegals out.
Get the illegals out. Get the illegals out. Okay. That's their comprehensive plan to lower grocery prices. What's your plan to lower grocery prices?
Who am I to tell? I'm just a citizen.
What policies would you like to see to lower grocery prices in New York?
Well, why don't we start with making eggs cheaper, which I think they have been cheaper. Have you bought a pair of cartons
Eggs are the same price they were a year ago.
of eggs recently? Go right across the street.
Bro, grocery prices are fucking terrible. I went to Costco with Vio the other day because I needed like paper goods, you know, paper towels, toilet paper. So I tend to buy those in bulk once every 6 months or something, right? And I was walking around and I saw they were selling soda for like $19 for a 36 pack at Costco. It's sugar water. When I was in San Diego, I went to a drugstore to pick up some sundries, and a 12 pack of soda was $11. It burned in my mind. I remember buying 12 packs of soda for $3 in like 2020. The ground beef is steak prices. It's just, you go to Costco and I buy the fucking hot dog, I buy the rotisserie chicken, I buy the pumpkin pie, because those are the only things that have a price that I can understand. Everything else, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This is Costco. How do you deal with people that treat politics like a religion when arguments and evidence-based policies don't matter because conservatives think their side could do no wrong and the opposition are all wrong by definition? What you need to understand about politics is that politics is about identity. Politics is about what you identify with. And one of the things that's really great about Marxism is they had that fucking knowledge, and we've had that belief for a very long time, okay? That's why we believe in building what's called class consciousness, which is building your identity as a worker, as an exploited member of the working class. Whether your collar is blue or white, your labor is being exploited by the owners of this society. And so in order to get people to shift, their political identity has got to match their material reality. And I find that when I'm having conversation with people who identify as a Republican, like they identify as being a Mets fan or something, you're not going to have a productive conversation. And you need to interrogate why that identity is fixed. And that's what you need to attack. Not bring them facts and figures. There's something called the rebound effect or the backlash effect, where if you bring facts and figures and evidence to prove somebody wrong, they will double down. The only way to use facts and figures is somebody has to be in a safe place where their ego is not on the line. Okay? This is something that I didn't understand for a very, very, very long time, is that you cannot persuade someone if their ego will be hurt by them changing their mind. Now, I'm one of those people who will change their mind based on facts and evidence, and it doesn't hurt my ego. My ego is about the process of learning being correct. So if I have an incorrect opinion or information and somebody brings me new information, I want to change my opinion to be correct. I want people to ask me questions and then me give them the correct factual answer as much as possible. I don't like believing things that are not so. Okay? And so, it took me a very long time to realize that most people do not hold opinions based like that. They don't. They hold opinions for social reasons, meaning they are the socially acceptable opinion, or they're the shibboleth opinion for the group that they're a part of, or they have anchoring bias for something they heard a long time ago. Okay, so in order for people to change their mind, they have to feel like changing their mind is not going to make them lesser. They're not going to be dominated. They're not going to be humiliated. They're not going to look stupid. So you've got to foster that kind of conversation, since you asked.
1, 2, 3.
The problem we have with debate culture is it creates an adversarial situation, right? Where you have an opinion and your opponent has an opinion and you're there to defend it. And if you're wrong, he wins. And if he's wrong, you win. If you create that kind of adversarial situation, that's like saying, how do I convince the lawyer for my opponent to say that I'm right? They're paid to say you're wrong. They will never say you're right, okay? So the first thing you have to do is create a situation where they don't identify with the position opposite of you. That's the problem with debate. Debate, at best, could be about third parties. Now, if you're talking to me about, like, Mike, what is your strategy for mass media communication? It's different than what you were talking about, which is, how do I change the mind of an individual person I'm talking to? That's what I was giving you advice about. I wasn't giving you advice for how to do mass media communication for your political movement. That's a different idea.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the Democratic Party here and whether or not what this upcoming Tuesday means for them. Ezra Klein recently wrote for the New York Times that over the past 15 years, the Democratic Party has made room on its left and closed down on its right for all the...
That's just an objectively false lie. That's just a total bullshit lie. That's a complete and utter catastrophic lie. Since 2008, the Democratic Party has moved to the right and gotten smaller and done less with political power. It's complete and utter bullshit. It's totally wrong. Bernie Sanders did not achieve any of the things he set out to achieve. And Bernie Sanders' Build Back Better bill was shot down by the right-wing Democrats who have held the whip hand over the party since 1992. You could argue it's since 1976 if you want to be specific. That's reality.
What the Democratic Party should learn from Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani, there should be at least as much talk of what they should learn from Manchin or Golden or Marie Perez or Sarah McBride. The party should be seeking more, not less, internal disagreement. Do you agree with that stance?
No. I mean, I don't know what reality Ezra Klein is living in, that the fact that the Democratic Party has tacked to its left. In what universe?
Yeah.
The coalescing around Joe Biden in the 2020 primary, the besmirching of Bernie Sanders supporters, the eschewing of that movement in 2016, and even in this current moment with Zohran Mamdani, who has been a shot in the arm for the Democratic Party, you still have Chuck Schumer refusing to endorse him, and Hakeem Jeffries' endorsement is lukewarm at best. There is a fight right now within the Democratic Party, and Ezra Klein is representing a floundering corporatist centrist flank that is increasingly irrelevant in the party, and he's trying to carry water for them in the Times. I mean, I think it's a lucrative thing to do, but it's not necessarily.
Emma is completely right. Also, by the way, I could say this as a man. If I was sitting next to someone and they started doing this, I would turn to him and I'd look him right in the face and I would say, be quiet. If I see you smirk again, like I would, I'm not kidding. This is misogynistic bullshit, and that if you did it to another man, you might get belted. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is misogynistic bullshit, and like I'm heated just looking at the way he's acting. Like, as if somebody did that to me, that is such an asshole emasculation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't apply to Emma because she's a woman, but he's trying to dominate her misogynistically, and it's fucking gross. I'm actually already heated. I'm already heated. It's misogynist fuck. Holy shit.
Matching the reality.
I love it. I'm so excited to disagree with you. I do, because I could not disagree more. The point Ezra's trying to make is that it takes two wings to fly. That he's trying to say the Democrats.
It takes two wings to fly. This homespun shit from a corporate lobbyist fuckface is textbook scam artist bullshit. Who the fuck likes this crap? This is pure pablum. What the fuck is this trash? Do I read Jacobin? What's your opinion on it? It's a fine magazine. Former sponsor of the program.
Need to build a Big Ten. And he's not saying you got to choose between Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders in the centrist wing. He's saying Democrats need to compete in more places. You raised a stat earlier that I think is the key one. Why, when Donald Trump's numbers are plummeting among independent voters, he's got 48% strong disapproval. How come the Democratic Party's approval rating is...
By the way, see, I have a completely different opinion about politics of these guys. They think that politics is about winning the very next election by spinning any kind of huckster bullshit to trick voters. That's what they think politics is about. Getting people butts into seats. That's not what politics is about. Politics is about power and the distribution of resources in the economy. That's what it's about. So if I lost 5 elections in a row, but when I win, I achieved all of my political goals and built all the programs, I would take that every fucking time. Now, the problem they have is they lose every fucking election, and when they do win, they're so full of corporate corruption, they get nothing done. So they get the worst of all worlds. Lose elections constantly, and when they do win, it's fucking meaningless. And it just so happens that when you win power and then you deliver for your supporters, you get even more popular. That's why FDR and LBJ got 60% plus of the vote, because they were delivering shit. Okay? It's not that complicated. You want to be popular? Deliver shit for the people.
Is lower as a brand
because
than
of the muddled message that I was just trying to elucidate.
So you believe it's because they're not far left enough?
No, I believe that there needs to be a different approach to politics here. Not building a tent and saying we don't necessarily stand for anything, including Ezra advocating for saying that we should run anti-abortion Democrats in red states. So let's throw trans people under the bus. Let's throw women under the bus. Let's just do anything except
reorienting territory, though.
No,
I think he's talking about being.
By the way, they're over-talking. They're over-talking her. They're over-talking her because the corporate paymasters don't want her to be able to get a word out edgewise. These motherfuckers would stay silent for a Trump voter saying how, or a Trump supporter saying how we need to kill immigrants. Pathetic.
Practical
and trying to expand the map. That's what needs to happen here. Is if
you expand the map by being aspirational. Barack Obama did not run to the right in 2008. He ran on hope and change, on healthcare for all, on green jobs. He ran to the left and he won Indiana. Now, he was a liar. He went in there and betrayed everybody, and he destroyed people's enthusiasm by not delivering and kowtowing to what's his fucking name? The guy, senator from Connecticut, or Joe Lieberman. Thank you. I had a fucking brain fart. Lieberman. That's the one. Like, he kowtowed to the most right-wing Democrats. He did close Guantanamo Bay. He pushed anti-whistleblower shit. He passed a corporate bailout that took 5 years to get it implemented in the ACA, which is failing now. He didn't codify Roe. He didn't raise the minimum wage. He didn't pass card check. Barack Obama was a weak president, and he made a lot of people feel cynical because he did not deliver. 55% of Floridians voted for abortion rights. 60% of Kansans voted for abortion rights. Being anti-abortion does not help you win because that's a minority position in this country. All it does is it turn off your base. It doesn't expand the map. If being anti-abortion expanded the map, they'd already be doing it.
Well, how do you expand the map? Is you win in Ohio and you win in Pennsylvania and you win in West Virginia. As much as Democrats hate Joe Manchin, he was the only Democrat.
He didn't run. He gave it. He suicide bombed the Democratic agenda and the Democratic trifecta. He took his corporate bailout. He took his corporate bribes and he quit without running. Joe Manchin was a remnant. West Virginia, when working class people used to vote for Democrats. He is not a. He is the path that has failed. That's why he didn't even bother running again.
Who could win statewide offices in Manchin?
I'm sorry, but Joe Manchin helped kill the child tax credit, which is the reason the Democrats are lagging behind in affordability right now.
But would it have been better if there were a Republican in that seat?
If the Democrats want to orient themselves behind a working class coalition and use that as the base, that is how you build a durable coalition, not the one that has lost to Trump multiple times.
But if you look at the track record of like Sunrise and Justice Dems and these other.
Because they haven't had the nominee. They've been the minority. They have not asserted themselves and taken control of the national bullhorn of the nominee. So their messages are always going to be marginal because they don't have the bullhorn. And Zohran Mamdani is showing you when you actually have a left-wing candidate have the opportunity to get the bullhorn, he fucking wins.
You know, more populist progressive groups.
The base wasn't there. Now the base is there. The base is currently behind it.
They have not gained a single seat.
Because of the institutional pushback.
What are you trying? When was that going to happen? The elections happen every 2 years, my friend. Things have changed. And of course they've won seats. And guess what? AIPAC corporate money flowed into these races and was spent big, and they didn't run on supporting Israel. But that whole entire anti-progressive bulwark of AIPAC has been annihilated. 7% of Democrats support Israel now. So good luck with that as your strategy to stop progressives with the AIPAC money, you fucking scum. And again, all this shit is just nonsensical. Also, it's not even a debate on the merits, okay? I don't give a shit what happened in the past. I don't give a fuck what happened in the past. I talk about what people believe in now. In 2024, AIPAC had not been discredited among Democrats yet. It was in the process of the discreditization. Now it is. In 2022, AIPAC was off everybody's radar and they were going around and assassinating various Democratic primary progressives. But now we're in a new world, my friend, where AIPAC money is a blight that you have to run away from. And the American people are, especially Democrats, are with progressive voters.
From the Democratic Party, and
because
right now
of the
we're
voters.
Seeing, how about
The voters
are
part of their.
The voters from 5 years ago. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders was the first runner-up in 2016 and 2020. The voters. You're talking about votes that are 5 years old. Politics has changed. I don't know if you noticed that.
At this point, I do think that there is, when you're just looking top down from the most powerful figures in the Democratic Party establishment, there is a pattern of them being much more accepting of the rightward flank than the left side of the flank.
Obviously.
I do think we're seeing that. I mean, I think we have some sounds of Hillary Clinton was just asked about Mamdani, who is, by every poll, still in a double-digit lead, very likely to become the mayor.
In New York City.
Hold on. Let's take a listen to the sound that we have of Hillary Clinton, and then I want both of you to respond on the other side.
This is fun. If you had a vote in this city, would you vote for Zohran Mamdani? You know what? I don't vote in this city. I'm not involved in it. I have not, been at all even asked to be involved in it, and I have not chosen to be involved in it.
She was a senator from New York. She's in New York all the time for various events. She speaks up on other Democratic issues.
She doesn't live in a lot of states, and she weighs in on a lot of states.
John, do you think that's the right move for Clinton to make?
I think she's telling the truth about what she's punting because she doesn't support Zohran Mamdani's policies. Look, there's been a long struggle over, go back to 1977. I'll just go nerd out. Moynihan versus Bella Abzug. There are deep divisions inside the Democratic Party that get played out. There are good principled fights over policy. Those are legitimate fights and disagreements. And for a lot of folks, a member of the DSA who's never held a job or never had an executive experience.
Assemblyman's a job.
Not a job in the private sector. You're right.
I don't care about that, though. He has to have a job.
That's the problem.
Right.
Barack Obama, by the way, this is the easiest rebuttal to this. Oh my, why? Barack Obama, that was same exact shit was said about Barack Obama. He was a community organizer, and then he worked in, he was a state senator, and then he was a senator for a year before he announced his presidential campaign. That's the exact same thing was said about Obama, and he won the best presidential campaign output in 2008 that the Democratic Party has seen in half a century. Who gives a fuck about this? If the experience that you're looking at is the America of today, I don't want any of that experience. I want a new experience. And I know your voters and your viewers do too.
It's worth caring about whether someone's ever had a job in the private sector. It's worth caring about whether they've had an executive experience. He's enormously talented. He's very compelling.
Who gives a fuck?
Nothing away on that. I'm just saying that for a lot of Democrats, that's a concern as much as what the policies represented by the DSA. And those are perfectly legitimate to raise. If you're trying to confront why the Democratic brand is so low, there's a lot of different analysis you can take. Clearly, Zohran Mamdani's focus on affordability and authenticity, that is right on. And by the way, the center-left can take that on too. Defense of the status quo is what kills you. But let's not pretend that people should just fall in line all the time. Let's have these great debates. And more importantly, be a reform force in politics that actually helps rebuild the middle class.
I was just going to say really quickly, for me, one of the issues in this divide is that regardless of who the Democrats run, Republicans are going to label them socialists and Marxists. They literally called Kamala Harris a socialist.
They did that to the Clintons too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the idea that, like, when people come out and say, oh, a win for Zohran Mamdani is going to just inject energy into the Republicans, this is what Donald Trump wants.
But he is a socialist. I mean, like, it's not like they're using it as an epithet. It's like he is a
Yeah, but who gives a fuck? They're going to use that epithet anyway. So somebody who goes out there and says, I stand for working class people and that I want to make an economy that cares more about workers and regular people than the billionaires and the rich like you. Why you're rich, I have no idea. The one thing about these people is they don't bother making points or arguments, and there's no factual basis for their opinions.
Matter because they were going to call Cuomo that. They've been signaling that if he were to become mayor, they would do all kinds of investigations tied to COVID.
All right, this is a great debate. We got to go. But John and Emma, fortunately, you're sticking around to keep the conversation going.
I mean, Catherine Rampell is an opt to keep the other three from being too pro-Palestine or anti-Dev. She shits on Zohran at every opportunity. She's a living muzzle. Yeah. Again, that's why I wouldn't get invited to shows like this, because I don't play along with these games. I tell people to shut the fuck up when I'm talking and things like that. Like, I'm not, like, we're going to make points. In other words, if you're a major public government official working in the name of capital, you'd be considered an agent of capital and at the highest rank. Well, of course. They aren't dumb, chat. They're paid. No, they are dumb, but they're also paid to be dumb. And, like, I have so many facts and figures. Like, for example, the voter registration. You notice how there was a massive voter registration surge for the Democrats with Zohran, but there's a massive Republican voter surge where there's a centrist Democrat running in New Jersey? Like, you could see the different, like, people are motivated. New people are coming out. And by the way, the fact that Zohran is running against a two-term, nationally recognized Democratic governor and beat his fucking ass in the primary and is about to humiliate him in a general election. Imagine if Cuomo stepped aside and bowed down and endorsed and campaigned for the Democrat. I thought vote blue no matter who was a thing. Why didn't he unite the Democratic Party behind Zohran? Why did he shut up and color? It's because he's really on the same team as the Republicans are. I love the centrist argument. A political shift hasn't happened yet, so it can't happen. Meanwhile, it's literally happening. Well, of course it's happening. Of course it's happening. But the reality is our structures are set up so that it is a top-down election, meaning what the national nominee is saying dictates what is possible. So if I'm saying I support Medicare for all, and then the other person goes, well, Hillary Clinton doesn't, so it's not going to happen. Joe Biden doesn't, so it's not going to happen. All I can say is, well, I want to do Medicare for all one day. You see how that's less compelling than, oh, the National Party nominee Bernie Sanders supports Medicare for all, and I'm behind Medicare for all too, and you're against what Bernie Sanders, the national nominee, wants. You're out of step. You understand the difference between the two and the plausibility of your program? I could run out there and say I believe in the Green New Deal and all these other things, but unless the National Democratic Party is behind it, it's a fucking flaw. It's a pie in the sky. Like, it's just literally how it works. John Avalon, the dipshit smirk at Emma, wrote a book in 2004 about how awesome and successful centrism is as a political strategy. Fucking loser, dude. Fucking loser, dude. And there is another candidate running, chat, that we haven't gotten the chance to talk about, which is Omar. Well, I mean, we have talked about him, but he's in Minneapolis. He's running against the current Democratic mayor.
As voters cast early ballots ahead of Election Day this coming Tuesday, we end today's show with the mayoral race in Minneapolis. Omar Fateh, the son of Somali immigrants, a Democratic socialist, is a leader.
Omar Fateh is the Mamdani of the Midwest, and he hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. I've obviously covered his campaign throughout the times. I unfortunately got into a bit of heat myself in the process, especially with the Charlie Kirk assassination, so I couldn't actually fly to Minneapolis and do a Omar has no motion, is sad to see. Actually, you're wrong about that. As far as the latest polls show, some polls show Jacob Frey, who is an incredibly unpopular candidate, the incumbent, barely beating Omar Fateh within the margin of error by like 1 point on the first choice on the ranked choice voting, and Omar Fateh and defeating Jacob Frey on the third and fourth rounds of ranked choice voting, and therefore Omar Fateh still has a shot. In the upcoming days until Tuesday, I'm going to try to do a little bit of a fundraiser for the Omar Fateh team here, because I from what I understand, he gets no coverage whatsoever, but they have a pretty good ground game overall. Energy on the ground isn't looking good, to be honest. Part of that is because the Minneapolis Hasanabi heads, we have to do better. Okay, we have to do better. We have to go and we have to fucking canvas. If you are in Minneapolis, but by and large, the amount of coverage that Omar Fateh has gotten is coming from the right. The only people that talk about him are right wingers that just keep constantly saying like America's being taken over. America's being taken over by the Muslims. If you're not in Minneapolis, you should phone bank. If you're in Minneapolis, you should door knock. And hopefully we'll be able to fundraise as well a little bit here, because he's great. He's great.
Leading candidate seeking to unseat incumbent mayor Jacob Frey, who's
I know, chat. I know. The mic from PA heads. The mic from PA heads in Milwaukee. Francesca's leading. I did it. I got her to 6%, chat. The mic from PA heads. She's leading. 80-some% are undecided, but I got her. The mic from PA bump. Actually, I'm going to message chat. I'm going to message Hassan about this. Now that I have this poll, see if he'll bring her on with me. The sewer socialists from Milwaukee. We are battling. But let's get through tomorrow before we do that. Did you hear that Kat is running for the Democratic Party Central Committee? I don't think the Democrats call it a Central Committee nationally. Some Democratic parties have Central Committees, but they don't typically call it Central Committee. It's better than him listening to libs about candidates. I know, chat. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know why, but it is. I tried. Can you do one more shout out for Jake and Joel in Jersey City? Oh yeah, if you're in Jersey City, guys, we had a couple of Jersey City candidates on the broadcast as well. So make sure you're working tomorrow. If you're in Jersey City, get out there, get out to the polls, go grab a GeoTV packet after the stream today. Good luck, guys. And, you should always see every election is a process of building. Even if you don't win on your first shot, now you have more name recognition. Now you have more, even if you don't win, you got to take advantage of that boost and keep building and look for other opportunities and keep grinding at it. Mike, did you fill out your Prop 50 ballot? Of course I did.
running for a third term. In 2020, Fatah made history as the first Muslim, first Somali American to be elected to Minnesota's state Senate. Fatah's surging campaign has drawn comparisons to Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic socialist, who polls indicate may be the first Muslim mayor of New York. Minneapolis Congressmember Ilhan Omar has endorsed Fatah, along with Jewish Voice for Peace Action and labor unions like SEIU. Minneapolis implemented ranked choice voting in 2009, which allows voters to choose up to 3 candidates in order of preference on their ballot. The winning candidate must receive at least half.
The problem is, we all know the electorate, okay? Let's be real. I think that in Minneapolis, you already have a built-in, very diverse group of people that are going to ride for you, that will overlook this sort of thing. But the broader base of support in Minneapolis is probably even more racist, I would say, than the New York electorate is. And on top of that, Omar is both Muslim and black. So he's getting it. He's getting hit from both ends in that regard. And unfortunately, racism is a major component in every election. The reality of the matter is it just makes it much harder, right? But as you know, my opinion on the matter, it's a hurdle that you can overcome with good policies, and Omar has done that. I would say that the biggest weaknesses beyond the obvious ones for the electorate being relatively racist is that a lot of people are not even aware that there's a Minneapolis mayoral race happening that's coming up. Unfortunately, it doesn't get the same national looks, but there is an opportunity there. The opportunity there is that, like, some of these races that don't get the same national looks can actually be unique opportunities for underdog candidates to win. The DFL is working to ruin his shot as well. Like the establishment Democrats, the institutional Democrats are attacking him. The wealthier interests are attacking him. He has the same exact dynamic as Zohran Mamdani, and he has very similar policies to Zohran Mamdani as well.
Half the vote. There are a total of 15 mayoral candidates on the ballot, with 4 Democrats, including the 2 frontrunners, Mayor Jacob Frey and Omar Fatah. Fatah is the only top candidate who's asked voters not to rank Frey, a centrist who's faced widespread criticism over his crackdown on Black Lives Matter protesters following the police murder of George Floyd in 2020. Frey has received the endorsement of Minnesota Governor, failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. Minnesota State Senator and Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fatah joins us now.
Open presence, thank you for the 25
welcome
gifted.
You to Democracy Now! If you can start off by talking about what the slate is that you are a part of, for people to understand around the country this issue of ranked choice voting and what you're moving forward on now, your major issues.
Yeah, first, thank you for having me. So we came up with the slate for change, myself, candidate Janice Hampton, and candidate Dwayne Davis, because we believe it's the best. We are the best 3 candidates to move our city forward. We came together around our collective vision, and yet despite our differences, showing that Minneapolis can have a different kind of politics where if you think differently, if you have slight differences in opinion around different issues, that we shouldn't have an adversarial relationship, and that we can still be partners in doing the work for our people, for the people of Minneapolis. And so our vision includes my vision includes one in which we make Minneapolis a more affordable city, increasing the minimum wage to $20 an hour, passing rent stabilization to protect our renters so they don't get priced out. It includes having a public safety system that reflects the needs of everyone. 5 years after the murder of George Floyd.
Also, Omar Fatah is a U.S.-born American citizen, too. He's not even naturalized. Even though, of course, that hasn't stopped the Republicans from both presenting Zohran and Omar Fatah as like Muslim infiltrators from afar. I just don't see this working, sadly. Man, why? Why wouldn't you just push for it? Who gives a shit? Like, there is no reason. You can't just back candidacies that you think are always going to win regardless. First of all, there is a shot. You're wrong. If you look at the actual polls, Omar Fatah is doing very well. He won technically the endorsement of the DFL, even though they rat him afterwards. And even on the first choice ballots, he's within 1 to 2 points between him and Jacob Frey. Jacob Frey is the incredibly unpopular incumbent mayor. There is no reason to engage in this sort of pessimism, especially at this point.
Mayor doesn't have a plan or doesn't intend to have a plan. And finally, we have a hostile federal government with Trump back in office, who has the trifecta. He has both the House and the Senate and the presidency. And on top of that, he has a Supreme Court that's going to do and has been doing whatever he wants. And so as a city, we need to build a strong line of defense to protect all of our vulnerable residents.
Why would him being naturalized be a problem? No, I'm just saying that like Zohran is a naturalized U.S. citizen, right? And they were talking about denaturalizing him and my point is Zohran is an American. Okay, Zohran is an American citizen. He's a naturalized U.S. citizen. Omar Fateh is a natural born U.S. citizen. And yet, for some weird reason, right-wingers attack them both as outsiders who are actually infiltrating America. I wonder what the reason for that is. Why is that a line of attack? That's
more 18 to 39-year-olds have voted in New York City's election than 50 to 69-year-olds. That's basically saying that more millennials have voted than Gen Xers and young boomers, who are the most conservative group. Ladies and gentlemen, more millennials and more Gen Zs have voted than the most conservative age group. It's over. It's so fucking over. It's not even funny. 30 to 39 is the highest share of vote. I could type, I swear, chat. Mike, watch this clip of voters. Will do.
And it is between fear and hope.
Former Governor Cuomo said it's fear that is fueling his general election independent race for mayor at this point in the campaign.
I am afraid for New York City, and I've never felt that before.
But here on the Upper East Side, there are certainly some people who are fearful of what a socialist mayor might.
Basically, I think Zohran's going to get 56% of the vote, but if he got 60%, I would not be surprised. So what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people are like, oh no, is he going to get a majority? Those people are massively underestimating him, and they're wrong. So anybody who's like, I don't know if you'll get 50%, they have bad analysis. That's my personal take. Now, if it turns out that I'm wrong, then I'll tell you exactly why I'm wrong, and we'll go through it, and we'll look at the, I'll analyze it. But based on my political acumen, my political analysis, the same way that I analyzed the early voting for 2024, you saw me do that. Austin Show came on this program, and we analyzed the early vote in Nevada, and I told you the early vote looks like Trump wins. Now I'm looking at the early vote, and I'm telling you, it's telling me Zohran wins, and Zohran wins big. Mike, we need an official. Mike was fucking right. Correction. I predict 56%. 56% Zohran. That's my number that I'm at right now. The range of my forecast is 52 to 60. Anything above 60 would shock me. Anything below 52 would shock me. So that's anywhere between 52 and 60 would be within my expectation. And so I'm just going dead in the middle of my expectation, 56%. Zohran literally had Nick Mullen come outside with Stavros and do an event with him. Nick never goes outside. This is a profound turnout indicator. How likely is Cuomo in third? I think that's very unlikely because I don't think Sliwa has the name rec. I don't think Sliwa is a strong enough candidate. Cuomo is certainly going to be closer to Sliwa than he is to Zohran.
Mean for New York. Several of the people we spoke with said that if Cuomo's campaign strategy is fear, it's not working for them.
It's a good ploy. I mean, it works, but it's not going to work now. This kid is going to win. I think he's going to win overwhelmingly, and I hope he does.
Cuomo is the epitome of
the American flag pants are out because we're going to win, baby.
Politicians who are running on making people feel scared. Mamdani, while I don't agree that he's necessarily going to be able to accomplish everything he set out to accomplish, his campaign is a campaign of hope.
Does Cuomo?
There is an old saying. Now, I'm an old organizer, chat, and there is an old saying. It's an axiom. It's not an axiom. It's a well-worn phrase of this community. If you want to know which side is going to win, ask yourself this question. Are the Democrats in love? That is the question. And if Democratic voters are in love with their candidate, they're going to win. If it looks like people are beating them to fall in line, they're going to lose. So another way of phrasing that is Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. I have a wager for you. If Zohran cracks 70% hot tub stream with Austin by the end of November, oh, come on. He's not going to get over 70%. Like, come on. Let's be sane here. But if you want to understand how optimistic I am, I'm scared to make that bet.
Does message resonate with you that this is a really important competition over values?
It does resonate with me. I will say there is a lot of debate right now. Like, I have value with both, but I do feel like Mamdani right now, he is kind of gaining our trust.
Too young and I'm not impressed with him. Cuomo should win.
I don't have
So the people that like Cuomo are the people that you would not fuck with. Judgmental, narcissistic, hopeless, kind of a little bit evil. Ugh.
I'm going to vote for Cuomo, my whole family. I feel more confident with him.
Cuomo had his chance. Also, he's just an abuser. I'm going to vote for Mamdani.
And tell us why.
He's young, he's smart. I've lived in Manhattan for 65 years. I brought up 2 children. He's a smart young man. That's why I'm going to vote for him. And I'm a Jew also.
And so you're not concerned about...
Not at all.
Tell me why.
Because he's a smart young guy.
I feel like a lot of Cuomo's fear-mongering is out of desperation. Zohran has the fight belief behind him that he can actually stand up.
I would vote for Mamdani. I think he'll be a good mayor. He's smart. He's different. We need a mayor who's not going to be beholden to outside forces. The way Cuomo is, he's in the pocket of the real estate industry.
The first primary, I voted for him first.
You voted for Cuomo first?
Yeah, and Mamdani second. The minute I did that, I felt badly.
This election is between fear and hope.
Former Governor Cuomo.
Fear works on conservatives. That's actually why corporate Democrats like it so much, because they're fundamentally conservatives who take the Democratic Party to get money, right? So they think fear is the effective method, which is why they constantly go back to it, because they have a conservative mindset. But for most people, we are not ruled by fear. We are not. Fear is small dick energy. That is the energy of every conservative. Asmongold is the perfect example of the archetypical conservative today. Fearful, stupid, lazy, sadistic, but only in a keyboard warriors type way. Hey, Alyssa, how you doing? I mean, I can just tell you right now that it's beyond Jover. 30 to 39, the heart of the millennial cohort, is the highest turnout group in New York City early voting. It's so fucking beyond over. Zohran, let's go. I mean, look at that. 30 to 39-year-olds? That is us seizing our power. Now, I'm an elder millennial chat, so I'm in this group, the 40 to 49s. My group is currently mostly Gen Xers, and let me tell you something about Gen Xers. They've always sucked. No one ever liked them. I'm being brutally honest. Wow, I thought you were 30s? Thank you. You don't see the gray? Don't see how gray my hair is? I'm not bald. Those are just gray. I believe the early vote is so overwhelming and so totally on Zohran's side that I believe that if Zohran did get a single vote on election day, he'd still beat Cuomo. I don't know about that. Election day is pretty important. As a 44-year-old dude, I could agree Gen Xers sucked. Yeah, they've never been good. Gen Xers act like they're above it all with their phony, I don't give a fuck attitude. Well, Gen Xers are like, oh, man, I can't believe I have to buy a house and go to work, man. Oh, I can't believe I have to buy a house at 2% interest. Oh, it's so boring, bro. It's so boring. That's Gen X. I am an elder millennial, and I recently learned about a concept called millennial cringe. It hit a little too close to home for me. No, first of all, that's why we're the best generation. We're the best generation because millennial cringe is not us cringing. It's other people thinking we're being too authentic. We're being too, like, disinhibited. We're dancing shittily. We have that self-confidence and that self-belief. We enjoy things. We're earnest. And the younger generations, they grew up on the social media panopticon where everybody has a stupid phone with a camera recording people to make fun of them. You know, and so they're always worried about looking bad and going viral looking bad. So millennials, we live with our hearts on our sleeves. Whereas Gen Z, they grew up in the hell of neoliberal panopticon world where everything is recorded and you better not dance at the club because someone might be fucking recording you to post later. That's why they're more conservative than we are, because they're worried about coloring outside the lines and getting made fun of and being cringy. And the reason why Zohran is so likable is because he's millennial cringe. You know who else is millennial cringe? AOC. He's doing Tai Chi with a bunch of elderly Chinese grandmas. But ladies and gentlemen, this is called human connection. All right, let's not get into generations. You know that generations on the whole are meaningless and only used to divide people. The only good generations is the Star Trek movie. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with this once and for all. I'm sorry that you have been taught by somebody who is not very good at a materialist analysis that you're not allowed to say generations are meaningful. Generations of people go through the same material conditions. If you believe in materialism, you will believe all of us going through the Great Recession are going to experience the same conditions, and therefore it's going to shape our political opinions and it's going to shape our political knowledge. The fact that we didn't have social media when I was 22 changed the way I experienced going to the club. That is we use generations as these people were at different developmental stages with different material conditions. I'm not saying that generations imbue some sort of spirit on you. It's about analyzing the way people grew up and experienced certain life milestones during certain different conditions. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about some sort of like spiritual, astrology of a generation. And yes, there is no firm distinction between generation. There is no firm line. They all blend into each other. But I'm talking about, for me, there was no YouTube when I graduated college, okay? Do you understand how different my life was than people that are going through college today or growing up watching YouTube on their tablet? Like, it's a little, it's a little bit different. I was a full-blown adult when social media came out. I mean, I had a MySpace, but I never even uploaded a picture, I don't think. I was in college when Facebook came out. I was in a college that was one of the first, I think it was like they had the Harvard only stage, and then Facebook was invite only to like a bunch of colleges. I was in college, in a college that was invited to join Facebook in the early section. And I didn't join because I was like, I already have a MySpace and I don't give a shit about it. All right, so I have a totally different, I was there when Gmail came out. Like, I was already an adult man, all right? Do you understand the difference between what I experienced and why I have the opinions I have versus people that literally can't imagine the world without that? What day is the Minnesota election? It's always Tuesday. Elections in America are always the first Tuesday after the first Monday. Commit that to memory. The first Tuesday after the first Monday. So November needs to have one, if that makes sense. And I don't say this because I'm trying to say that I'm old. I'm just saying this that you need to understand I grew up in different conditions than you. Have I used a rotary telephone? Of course. What? Of course I did. The fuck? When I went to Japan as a 20-year-old or a 19-year-old for vacation, I had a 100 call ATT collect card in my wallet so that I could call my parents at home. Did I ever use a floppy disk? I used floppy disks when they were floppy. I remember when floppy disks got the small hard-sided one. I remember when Windows came out. We used Kazaa, LimeWire, and Napster to get music. I remember when Napster was good. LimeWire always sucked. What was the first PC game I played?
Rampage, you destroy everything.
So the game essentially takes the idea of the giant kaiju monsters wreaking havoc on a city.
The three monsters include George of the jungle, who's obviously King Kong. There's a lizard, Lizzie the lizard, which is Godzilla.
Basically, you are a monster and you go around destroying the cities and killing humans. It's called Rampage. This was my first video game. This is the first video game where we were like, holy shit, video games are getting sick. Rampage is like Literally, when I think video game, I think Rampage. Because it was the first one. I played it on my dad's Commodore 64. My dad bought the Commodore 64 because he was writing his master's thesis, his aeronautical engineering master's thesis, and he bought a Commodore 64 so he could have a word processor. Okay, this is from the 60s, bro. I'm not that old. Jesus. This is what I always tell people to show you how old. This is how you... I was in high school when this was happening.
I treat you right, don't I? I always do what you want to do. Like, remember last Sunday when you wanted to go to McDonald's for 39-cent cheeseburgers? I took you, right? And what about Wednesday for 29-cent hamburgers, huh?
It's not you.
Well, what's wrong?
It's Thursday.
29-cent hamburgers.
Cheeseburgers every Sunday and 29-cent hamburgers every Wednesday. Did somebody say McDonald's?
That was the GOAT. That was the GOAT. When I started driving, gas was 89 cents. When I started practicing for my driver's permit, gas was 89 cents a gallon. Final New York City early vote. Also, I could buy cigarettes under 18. And I did. When I was 8th grade, I would buy cigarettes. And they would sell them to me. They raised they created an age limit for cigarettes when I was already when I was 17 or something. That's when they created the 18-year-old limit. You used to also get a adult license at 16. I was one of the first people to get the Cinderella license. Half of the people in my year got full-blown adult licenses when they hit 16, and then I was like a little bit younger. I was on the younger side for my age group, for my grade. So I had to have a Cinderella license. So I had a friend who was born in November, and he had a regular adult license, and I was born in May, so I had to have a fucking Cinderella license. What does that mean? A Cinderella license, you cannot drive past I think 11 p.m. It depends on the state. Kids that are under 18 can't drive between 11 and 5 or something. That's why they call it Cinderella, because Cinderella, the magic would run out after clock strikes midnight or whatever the fuck. So you had to be at home. You couldn't drive. The world was a lot different, folks. I'm a boomer. How did it feel when the government made it mandatory to wear a seatbelt? Honestly, it was a good thing because we didn't wear it. That was a really good idea because we didn't wear seatbelts back then. So that was a good idea. You're a cringe millennial, of course. I remember when airbags started going around. First, you just had airbags at the so you would have the driver's side airbag, and then it would be an option to have the passenger airbag. You didn't wear seatbelts? I'm at your age, and I've always used them. Yeah, it was a thing they tried to tell people to do, but it wasn't mandatory. They've got an air fryer. They have an air fryer on the Chinese space station, chat. And they're making wings.
进行固定，经过180度28分钟的高温烤制，将会呈现出一个什么样的效果？请大家静待。哇塞，看看滋滋冒油啊，色香味俱全，
新鲜出炉的烤翅啊！来，好拿一个，一人一个啊，没有多的啊。好 ，OK， 来，吃完了。
它这个为啥烤出来这么好吃呢？
吃完了。
The Heavenly Palace. They have wings. They've got fucking hot wings. Do you know that on the International Space Station, they have to get dehydrated food, which is recycled piss, and it shoots hot water into their this pouch. That's how they cook their food. Meanwhile, on the Chinese space station, they've got fucking wings, bone-in wings.
后面还有那个
牛排已经出锅了。
Flats
啊，滋滋冒油呢，你看。
We're so cooked. Food stamps are ending in America, and Chinese taikonauts are eating fucking wings and beef and barbecue in their space station. All right, let's go back to Omar. We got to vote for Omar, chat.
The question I'm asking you, and I think we all know what the answer to that question is. It's just racism. That's it.
Oh, yeah. If you want to know what it was like when they made drunk driving illegal.
Any attempt to
Notice how the baby's sitting in the front seat of this truck facing forward.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be calm this country. Calm this country.
Chat, that's what I grew up with. So the fact that I am more left-wing than you, think about that. I'm more left-wing than you, and that's what I grew up in. Thank you for turning on the subtitles. Yeah. Mike, only you remember this.
1987 as an upgrade of Windows 1.0. So this time, the windows can actually overlap instead of being locked side by side. And this feature was very useful because programs such as Microsoft Word and Excel showed up in the era of Windows 2. So office workers could multitask better. Like they can type in Microsoft Word while checking some numbers in the overlapping.
Yeah, I remember Windows 2. Windows 3.1 was the shit. That was the shit. 95 was really like, that was the GOAT. When Windows 95 came out, we were like, holy shit, this is the future. The information superhighway. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, chat. She wants you to know that Venezuela is Hamas.
US certainly sees it that way at the moment, doesn't it? We've seen this.
Okay, by the way, okay, we're not going to get distracted. I want to watch Omar. Stop distracting me. Fuck. ADHD.
Omar Fatah about being called the Mamdani of the Midwest. And one of the issues that Zohran Mamdani raises in this New York mayoral race is the issue of big money. If you can all...
So the irony, of course, is that while Fry is... You're not wrong, okay? I just don't see if a Zohran method is working in a city that's one of the most affordable in the country. That's like 50% of Zohran's appeal is still good, but I don't think it'll be as salient as it was in New York. Well, there are other issues there as well.
Okay, first of all, if you say Minneapolis is like affordable, you're a fucking dipshit. We don't have a single affordable city in this country. Not one. Not one. Affordable is when you could afford a 1-bedroom apartment on a minimum wage. That's affordable. There's 0 affordable counties in America. Partially that's because the minimum wage is so low, but also it's because housing is too expensive. Everybody thinks like, no, it's affordable if it's like relative to some other place. No, you should be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment on a minimum wage budget. If you can't full time, then it's not affordable.
Oh, Cloud District Enjoyer is not wrong. Minneapolis still has unaffordability problems though. That's the only problem. That's the only issue I take with what Cloud District Enjoyer is saying, because
I believe that every single person should be entitled to a 2-bedroom apartment minimum, modern apartment with air conditioning, air filters, heating and cooling. It should have a full kitchen. It should have at least 1 full bath. That's the minimum. And until every single person is entitled to at least that, we don't have enough housing. And everybody, and all married couples or long-term cohabitated couples should have a 3-bedroom. That is the minimum. And you can have young people and students are guaranteed a 1-bedroom. That is the minimum. I don't like studios at all. I don't think studios should even be a thing. I mean, they should be transitory housing, but that's fine. Whether you want a large studio or a 1-bedroom where the bedroom is, you know, sectioned off is up to you. I would allow people to make that decision for themselves. Every adult should have a 2-bedroom unit as a minimum with no roommate. And if you're like, oh my God, Mike, that is so crazy. Oh, that's so aspirational. It's like, this is the richest country in the history of the planet. You don't think you're going to have a 2-bedroom apartment? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here.
Affordability is a problem everywhere because you are looking at it from a broader perspective. People who live in Minneapolis still have affordability problems. Obviously, if you adjust the affordability of Minneapolis to the affordability of New York, as someone who probably lives in a major city that is far less affordable than Minneapolis, you go, what do you mean? People aren't as mad about affordability. Of course they are. Poverty, affordability, these are relative constructs. So yes, while you look at Minneapolis from a national perspective, it is one of the few cities, one of the few major cities in the country that where affordability is not as salient of an issue as opposed to like New York, because it's much more affordable than a place like New York. For the people in Minneapolis, there are still significant problems.
Also talk about the role of big money in your mayoral race, PACs protecting the interests of developers and funneling millions of dollars into campaigns, and your chief rival, mayor.
Why does Matthew Iglesias look the way it does? I respect your opinion in many areas, but I don't understand why the propagandists of the neoliberalism look too concerning and upsetting. Why does Iglesias look like that? Because no one who's not a slithering worm from outer space would support the Democratic Party establishment. So everybody who supports them looks like a fucking ghoul.
Fry.
Yeah, what we're seeing with Zohran's campaign and campaigns across the nation is that we're seeing progressive candidates running on a sincere and authentic message around affordability and making the lives of working families better. For far too long, the Democratic Party has lost the message around how to improve the lives, around the costs of living, around renters that are struggling with paycheck to paycheck.
There is no place on the country, there's no place in the United States of America, there is not a single place in the United States of America where the affordability message is not salient. Make no mistake. And even if we were living in an economic boom where everybody was like, oh, all my needs are met, you could still tailor your message around making things even more affordable, okay? Improving quality of life for every single person.
Struggling to make the next month's rent, struggling to pay for basic food and healthcare costs. And so this is kind of the reason why we saw a hard swing in 2024 with Trump winning the presidency, and now candidates on the left or in the Democratic Party winning with a similar message around affordability. Now, was Trump lying when he was running? 100%, of course he was. But he knew that that was a message that would resonate the most with the population. And so right now what we're seeing here in Minneapolis is that Mayor Fry has 5 PACs right now. Not 1, not 2, but 5 PACs that have been well-funded, that have been sending out glossy mailers,
I drove up to MPLS to knock doors for Fateh a few weeks ago, and he definitely has a strong base of support, but holy shit, the racist attacks against him are beyond anything I've ever seen or heard. He's a black man, and he's and he's left-wing. Racism is okay in the Democratic Party as long as you're attacking a left-wing guy. That's how it's always been. That's how it has always been. Centrist Democrats don't give a shit about fighting racism.
Stop ads on social media and on YouTube and things like that. And the reality is that if an incumbent has been doing the on-the-ground work, connecting with residents, connecting with stakeholders, working well with city council and cross-jurisdictionally across different levels of government, there wouldn't be the need to spend that much money and having 5 different PACs to defend you. It's very telling that right now that the mayor doesn't have a single county endorsement, county commissioner endorsement, or state legislator endorsement. And it's because he hasn't been able to work well with others and has handed the city off in his last 2 terms to the wealthy and the well-connected and not the working families. And so that has been evident throughout this campaign.
State Senator, your headquarters, your campaign headquarters for mayor in the predominantly East African neighborhood of Cedar Riverside, Minneapolis, was vandalized with graffiti that read, "Somali Muslim, this warning is no joke," in black marker. You're certainly not the
Longtime MPLS resident. My neighbors are Trump supporters. They were the first ones to put out a phrase sign in my neighborhood. Yes, because conservatives know that centrist Democrats are controlled opposition. Like, they get it. They get it. And centrist Democrats know they're controlled opposition too. So if you're just learning this, congratulations, you're waking the fuck up. I've been aware of this since I experienced it firsthand 10 fucking years ago. These people, you have to understand that Democratic Party is the Washington Generals of politics. They don't actually want to win. They just serve as like a safety valve for neoliberal capitalism. And when everybody gets so fed up with the right wing that they need somewhere to go, that's what the Democratic Party is there for, to absorb that energy. So when an actual left-wing candidate wins in the Democratic Party is about defeating them and just sabotaging them and tripping them up, openly endorsing Republicans or independents that are against them. That's how the Democratic Party has always operated. And if this is surprising to you, if you're a Democrat because you really hate Republicans, I'm sorry to inform you, the Democratic Party exists to serve Republicans.
the only Muslim politician to receive these threats in Minnesota and nationwide. I think about Ilhan Omar, who has also endorsed you, the Congress member from Minneapolis. But can you talk about the rise of anti-Muslim hate, racism in the country? And do you think the Democratic Party and other Democratic candidates and politicians are pushing back hard enough?
Well, what we are seeing here in Minnesota, I believe, is a direct result of our welcoming, the way we welcome everyone and the way we uplift everyone. And what I mean by that is that we were the first state to have a Muslim congressman in Keith Ellison. We were the first state to have a Muslim congresswoman in Ilhan Omar, who has been serving honorably and serving CD5 and has been a rock star for all of us and a voice that we truly needed.
Is it a coincidence that Muslims have been the method lately? We got Zohran, Fateh, El Sayed, big election cycle for progressive Muslims. I don't think it's that confusing, because I think for like living in the United States of America, if you are from a Muslim background, you're, with the exception of Zohran, I would say, Zohran is the exception in this regard. You're usually coming from a lower income area regardless. You're coming from a minority group in the country that has seen the economic devastation firsthand, and therefore your policy vision reflects that reality. So it's the same reason why, like, American Muslims, by and large, post 9/11, are one of the more reliable progressive voting blocs in the country. And it's so funny that people still do this, where this guy just said progressive Muslim is an oxymoron. Right now, in the United States of America, the most progressive politicians in office are by and large Muslim, especially on the Democratic Party front. Every single Democrat, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Zohran Mamdani, Abdul El Sayed is running for office, as we saw. These are the most progressive candidates in the country. Pro-trans, pro-labor rights, anti-militarism. They are the most leftist candidates you have. And people cope and seethe and say they're cultural Muslims at best, which is crazy to say about Ilhan Omar, who wears a hijab. It's crazy to say even about Zohran. Like, no, these guys are actually straight up, they are much more Muslim than I am. They are following the faith much better than I am, okay? I can't speak on Omar. I don't know the extent of his, I don't know how much he practices or whatnot. But yeah, Ruhr Roman is another one. It's so funny to me that people still run with this, like, unimaginable cope, where they're like, oh, they must be faking it. It's just so silly. And I think a part of that is because of the, a part of that is certainly born out of the fact that Muslims are actively attacked. Islamophobia makes it much easier to monolithize the entire religion and certainly the entire followers of this faith in the United States of America, even when all evidence points to the contrary. There are polls that show that this is not the reality. They are far, far more open-minded and far more progressive, Muslim Americans are, than evangelical Protestants are, for example. White evangelical Protestants are a much more consequential force in American politics. They're much larger in number. Obviously, it's a more fundamentalist segment of the broader Christian religion, but, you know, they are a far more consequential group that has far larger numbers than Muslims.
Honestly, chat, as somebody who's a little bit older than most of the chatters, I want you to understand that Islamophobia has been part of American society well in the 90s. There was so much Zionist propaganda trying to inculcate anti-Arab and anti-Muslim propaganda well before 2001. Like, if you go throughout the 1990s action movies, oftentimes the villains are Islamic terrorists. Like, we have been pushing that kind of propaganda from Zionists in American society well before 2001. All right, like Islamophobia did not start in 2001. Like, you could go back through True Lies, you know, like there's so many films from the 90s where, like, Islamic terrorists are the big bad. Back to the Future with Libyans. Like, you could just go through and you realize, like, why is there all these, like, why are Islamic terrorists being cooked up and propagandized to Americans? That big bad has been a explicit project of Zionists the entire time.
Muslims do overall, and Muslims are much more progressive than even.
Remember this one, The Siege? Oh yeah, God. 1998, by the way.
Hello, sir. It's Agent Hubbard, FBI. And what I propose is that you let these people go, and I'll take their place.
Funnily enough, The Siege is a good movie because it predicts a lot of the like ridiculous, over-the-top, fascistic reaction to terrorism. It's almost like it was normalizing that kind of reaction before 2001 happened. I don't know anything about Siege, but if I had, let's look into it. I'm curious. I bet you the producers behind The Siege are probably really big Zionists. If I had to guess, who produced it? This isn't the guy. No, this isn't the guy. It's a different one. Might have to check this out later. Go through the different producers, and because there's a lot of weird Islamic tropes that in this movie.
I'm gonna take your silence to mean that you're considering my offer.
Oh. Oh, God.
London, Belfast, Beirut. We're not the first city to have to deal with terrorism. This is New York City. We can take it.
You don't understand. These guys are pros. From the age of 12, they've been dodging people like you.
The situation is appalling. They're attacking our way of life. The president wants it stopped, and there's only one way to do that.
Are you saying the president is prepared to take the necessary steps?
Today, with the invocation of the War Powers Act by the president, I am declaring a state of martial law in this city. We intend to seal off this borough, and we intend to squeeze it.
Do you have any idea what you're starting here?
It's wrong. What if what they really want is for us to herd children in the stadiums like we're doing? And put soldiers on the street and have Americans looking over their shoulders? Bend the law, shred the Constitution just a little bit. If we do that, and everything that we have bled and fought and died for is over.
Don't you ever again question my command, is that clear?
I'm not under your command, General.
Take a look around, tell me if you really think that's true.
The Siege, man, 1998, and it's all happening now.
Christians are in this country.
What we're seeing in the last few years is that I think since 2024, there has been over a dozen instances of attacks on mosques, for example. Minnesota has had.
I feel like the UK Islamophobia is of different intensity than the US. Our anti-black racism in the UK is mostly located in urban areas versus omnipresent Islamophobia. Also, lots of Brits of Pakistani heritage, and orgs like the National Front, UK version of the Klan, focus so much on British Muslims of Pakistani heritage in the 80s. I mean, there have been anti-black and anti-Muslim sentiment in the UK since Enoch Powell. Like, what do you mean? It's one of the most, like, I'm very well familiar with UK politics, okay? Like,
I believe the first and only mosque being bombed in the entire nation. Over $3 million in damages, 3 mosques fully burned to the ground. Myself and other Muslim elected officials have been receiving threats on email and social media.
We have 20 seconds.
Yes, and through social media. And so the rise in hate we've been seeing has been a direct result of also Trump being elected. But in terms of campaigns, we've seen also Democratic campaigns latch onto this and use it in their own messaging. And
we have 20 seconds is classic. Amy Goodman. That's, you guys don't watch enough Democracy Now! You're not ball knowers. That's not even disrespectful.
she's just, she has a hard stop. She's on radio shit. You know, chat, like, they're on radio, so their program, you know, like they have a syndicated program and then it will stop. You know, it is what it is. Like, so she has to tell them that the radio is going, the program will end in 20 seconds.
That's just how it goes. That is just how it goes, baby.
Through their PACs to try to win their elections. And so rather than going on the defense for one another, they've been using it to sow more hate.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube.
I'm super excited about Omar. I hope he wins. I haven't been following the Minneapolis race as much as Zohran, which is my bad. But if you're in Minneapolis, get out there, get out GOTV, work your fucking ass off. That one is a tougher race because, you know, Omar has less national name recognition and Frey is not as like hated as Eric Adams or Andrew Cuomo. The Hasbaras are officially using the Gravel Institute video to try to say Zohran is a communist.
Go further toward the Vienna model. We'll have to go beyond the market. We can establish community land trusts to gradually buy up housing on the private market and convert it to community ownership. We can give tenants a right of first refusal to buy out their landlords when buildings go up for sale. And we can fully commit to a new era of social housing, ending subsidies for luxury housing development and using our wealth to build beautiful, high-quality social housing projects that offer good homes and strong communities to everyone. We won't decommodify housing overnight, but we know what we have to do, and we have history to guide us. Go further toward the Vienna model.
I've been a Zohran knower for, 4 years now? So it's been really exciting to see him growing and blowing up. Really exciting stuff. The funniest part is they think that hurts him. Yeah, no one gives a shit. Throwback to Zohran Mamdani at a Nakba protest in 2021. I just gotta leave it right here. This 90-year-old Jew says Zionism is a white supremacist ideology. Surely he's done some bad things too. I understand you're excited, but Mamdani supporters such as yourself are looking at him with those rose-colored glasses. This fucking sucks. Literal coolest thing ever.
So you're not just a pundit commenting on Hakeem Jeffries from a distance. If you are elected to Congress, you will be a member of his caucus?
Yes, I will, but I won't be voting for him for leader. And,
well, you beat me to my question. So,
yeah.
He goes up for speaker, you'll say no?
No, I think he's failed as leader for the Democratic Party.
As a freshman who comes into a House Democratic majority, you will say, I'm not backing Hakeem Jeffries.
Not only am I not backing Hakeem Jeffries, I'm talking about, I'm going to be calling for people to primary all the Democrats who have completely failed this party.
You think Hakeem Jeffries should be primary?
Yes, absolutely. I'm saying that to the camera. Hakeem Jeffries should be primary. If there's someone out there who can primary him, please do it.
There is a young city councilman who's doing very well at the moment called Chiose, who is being asked to run against him. Let's see what he does. Okay, so you've been very strong on that. Okay, let me ask you this. That's Hakeem Jeffries. What about Chuck Schumer? Should your old boss AOC run against Chuck Schumer in a primary, or should she run for president in a primary?
Now, I have mixed feelings about this guy, but he was primarying Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi, as of this morning, has announced she is retiring. Nancy Pelosi is retiring rather than facing a challenge from, I guess you could say, her left. What does primaried mean? It mean basically in America, there are elections for each major political party to determine who their nominee is going to be for the general election. So you can run as a primary election, and then so you're running against people of your own party, and then everyone comes and votes, and then whoever wins that vote is the nominated to go to November to run against the other parties. That's what a primary, to be primaried is to challenge an incumbent of your own party. Democratic sources in her home state of Congress told NBC News they believe the 85-year-old California Democrat will choose not to seek re-election in 2026 after nearly 4 decades representing San Francisco-based district. Bye, bitch. Bye. Bye. See ya. Holy shit. Open presents with the 25 gifted sub bomb. Thank you so much. The best trader on Wall Street is quitting government. I want to see Nancy Pelosi's trades, how they keep up. All right, we got another Zohran ad. Be right back.
Assalamu alaikum, milenge. Thank you, Ji. Hi.
I vote for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just tell my wife you're here.
Thank you. Please give this to her. Thank you so much. How you doing, brother? I'm happy to meet you. How you doing, brother? Love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Walaikum salam ji, kaise ho? Thank you ji. Aap vote kiye ab tak?
I'm 67. I retire. I cannot retire.
What are you going to do when you retire?
My payments and 25-year
You're going to work until you drop dead.
Exactly.
You're going to work. Easy. Easy. We need this man.
This is a signature hug. He's a strong guy.
How you doing, brother? For South Asians growing up in New York City, taxis were one of the ways we would see ourselves as part of the fabric of the city. Thank you, brother. Thank you. As much as taxis have been celebrated, as much as they've been woven into the most prominent examples of what it means to be a New Yorker, or the films and the books that we all love about the city, I watched, as did many New Yorkers, as driver after driver was trapped
Thank you, brother. Thank you, inshallah.
in debt peonage, and their struggles were simply overlooked by politicians. You know, it's time to also speak to New Yorkers for whom the workday starts at night. It's time to actually look to represent them.
I just wanted to say hi, but so many cameras.
It's all good.
Whatever you're doing is good, man.
Thank you, brother.
God bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Hey, Mr. Mandani, nice to see you. You're gonna be Ben. You're gonna be next mayor, Mr. Mandani, next mayor.
Hey,
Mr. Mandani.
I love you. We miss you. We cannot wait you to win the next mayor.
I started at 8:30 and I quit at 8:30.
8:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the night?
Right.
Yeah. How about
Yeah,
you?
9:30 to like 10, sometimes
9:30 in the morning, 10 p.m. tonight?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's not like
very
trying
hard.
to like midnight.
Soon.
Next week.
If you vote. Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, brother. Hey, nice to meet you.
He's just excited to see you.
You guys taught me how to campaign.
Oh, yeah.
So we were telling people, you know, we want to tell the stories of the New Yorkers who are often forgotten.
How you doing,
The ones
brother?
who work while everyone else gets to sleep.
That was my shift at the hunger strike.
Yeah.
Night shift.
Yeah, night shift. Without the night shift, there is no morning sometimes.
There's no New York City.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. Thank you, brother. I'll be there.
I gotta show you.
Grandpa, you are
Oh my God.
So cute. Yinnis and Noel.
Oh, that's
Hillsborough.
well, a lot of people who used to be New Yorkers have been pushed to Jersey.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to work 7 days a week to be able to afford to live in this city.
If you didn't help us get this deal
Yeah.
and bring the payments down, even 7 days would not have been enough. Truly, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
When you got the taxi drivers on your side, oof.
Lifesaver.
Thanks.
Lord driver.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have you
Zohran
voted
is
yet?
a hard fucking
You
worker,
voted?
man.
Thank you, brother.
I had a roommate once, someone I met like on Craigslist, did not know him, a younger guy.
did,
and
GQ.
one night I came home and I assumed he was on drugs because first he was on the couch. He was slumped over. This was 1 a.m. I came from a comedy show, slumped over like this. I thought maybe he was drunk. He drank sometimes, but then he like his eyes opened. He was like, boing. And I was like, good evening to you too. I said, I freaked out. I mean, truly, it was like that. And I was like, are you okay? And he was like, it was one of the few times in my life that I called 911. I called 911. I said, I think my roommate's on some kind of drugs. He's making weird noises. And please, send over an ambulance. And instead, New York City, who do they send over? NYPD. NYPD came over, and it was 2 officers. They came in. One kind of started talking to him, and then the other took me aside and said, why did you call? And I had to be like, when I walked in, he was like, and then he's like, okay, let me talk. And so he gets on his like walkie-talkie, whatever. Suddenly, 3 more NYPD officers come over. And they come in and they're like, okay, what's going on here? And I'm like, okay, everyone gather around one more time. And then they radioed, and I swear to God, by the end of this thing, there were 12 NYPD officers that I had recreated these sounds for. And it was like a game of telephone. I got worse at it every single time. By the end, it was like, bah! I guess what I'm trying to say is that's why I'm voting for Zohran. Because the other 2 candidates, their solution to that problem would have been more NYPD officers. I had a roommate once, someone I met.
That's the worst part of calling 911. Like, you don't know if who the dispatcher decides to send. You might get cops. And he was calling for an ambulance, and he got a bunch of worthless Candy Crushers. Did Zohran ever actually take the mic and rap? Okay, I found it, I think.
It's you. Come on. Can we hear it from my man right here? Can we hear it from my man right here? We got very few hours until the election.
So wear protection. No.
All right. Election day, November 4th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's our last chance to get out there and vote. Last chance to win a state.
He's got the freestyle. He's got the
Last chance
mic.
to finally send Andrew Cuomo back to the suburbs. So I need everybody to get on out there. Everybody. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell anybody who's ever sent you a WhatsApp message. It's time for them to show up. They gotta get out to the polls, and we gotta actually change this city so we can afford this city. Let's do it, my friends. Let's do it. Hey.
Mom Donnie! Mom Donnie! Mom Donnie! Mom Donnie! Mom Donnie with an N!
Okay, we're trying to make the buses fast and
free.
Make the buses fast and free. Make the buses fast and free. Make the buses fast and free. Make the buses fast and free. Come on, people, now say it with me. Make the buses fast and free. Come on, people, now say it with me. Make the buses fast and free. Make the buses fast and free.
Wow, these bars, chat. These bars are so good.
Dude, I can't hang out with you for more than 30 seconds, bro. It gets out of control. Hey, well, thank you, man. Hey, say where people can find you at, too.
It's Toby season all day, every day. I-T-T-O-B-Y season. Toby season. When I say Toby.
This is the character from a Safdie Brothers movie, a cringe social worker with a heart of gold, of course. I'm Libyan and I live in Libya. I grew up learning to distrust or dislike America the West. I mean, you should. We destroyed your country. Like, what do you mean? Of course you should distrust us. What the fuck? Libya used to be the most developed country in Africa, and now it's being fucking ripped apart by Al-Qaeda allies. Of course you should distrust us. What the fuck?
Toby, y'all say season. Toby.
Season.
Toby. When I say Zohran, y'all say Mamdani. Zohran.
Mamdani.
Zohran.
Oh man, this is crazy. Oh, that's really great.
Крестьянская революция, о необходимости которой все время говорили большевики, совершилась.
Exciting shit, chat. Learning about Lenin. I'm pumped. I'm excited for that. Okay, we've talked about Rampage, 39-cent cheeseburgers. Ugh. Zohran being based as fuck. Andrew Cuomo has the worst social media I've ever seen. And it turns out that money cannot buy good social media.
New York, it is a... Good morning, New York. It is a beautiful day to campaign for Andrew Cuomo for mayor, starting our 5-borough tour from the Bronco. Dad is stipulating as...
Also, chat, I want to teach you about learning to identify sociopaths. The thing about sociopaths is this area of the eyes does not seem to be engaged with the emotion they are feeling. Just watch.
He does. So, good morning. Supposed to get Dad large. Think it was a good to leave the coffee.
Is this his daughter?
More important, sure, tomorrow is better. Campaign for Cuomo.
What the fuck? I feel like I'm having a bad shroom trip. Like you take shrooms and you settle down to like an acquaintance's couch, and then you realize the energy is immediately off. The energy is immediately off. God, this is like the most. Oh God, it's just. Oh, okay. Holy shit. The New York City chapter of Democratic Socialists of America will be holding a phone banking event tonight with Jeremy Corbyn, who was suspended as labor leader and eventually expelled over his response to allegations of anti-Semitism. That's who they're saying? That's their... That's the New York Times. That's crazy, chat. Notice how they just throw out allegations of anti-Semitism and it has no basis in reality. No basis in reality whatsoever. Here, I reposted this, chat. I'm hosting a phone bank tonight with NYDSA to get out the vote for Zohran Mamdani today at 6 p.m. Let's get Zohran over the finish line for a New York that's affordable for all. Hell yeah, brother. This you? Yeah. Based. Isn't this foreign interference? Yeah, but the good kind. Guys, I don't really watch Channel 5 personally. NPR last-ditch puff piece for Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo fights for his political life and his version of the Democratic Party. He's dangerously unqualified, Cuomo said Saturday during an appearance in Queens. When you are mayor of the city of New York, that is a big job. You're responsible for 8.5 million lives. How come his campaign is so much better than yours? If you're such a good leader, how come he has so many more volunteers than you do? How come his social media is so much more better produced? Like you're such a good leader. Why is none of that leadership apparent in the campaign? Yeah, we watched this earlier, chat. All right, let us take some time off from covering Zohran to watch the brand new John Oliver. We didn't watch last week's because it was on Medicare Advantage. This week on police chases. Is this an old one? Is this an old episode they're reposting? I feel like I saw this one before. Okay. Maybe my mind is just melting and I feel like I imagined this existing, but okay. It feels like something he would have already covered. Thank your God that you lived in America. I lived during the socialist era. Those were terrible days in Libya. According to the AI chatbot, under Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's Human Development Index improved significantly, reaching high levels and ranking first in Africa by 2010. This progress was driven by social welfare programs funded by oil revenues, which led to improvements in literacy, healthcare, and education. It was the top-ranked country in Africa. How about after Gaddafi? The country has experienced significant instability, conflict, and economic decline following the removal of Gaddafi. The quality of life for many Libyans has worsened due to breakdown of services, economic hardship, and a deteriorating security situation. Social cohesion has diminished, and many Libyans now require humanitarian assistance. Do you live in a socialist country? I wish. AI chatbot.
It's just not.
County? What the fuck is Pierce County? Look at how over-policed America is. Pierce County. First of all, look at how many SUVs that is. Oh my God, it's Tacoma. Tacoma's weeping. Tacoma is weeping. Oh, I gotta back this up. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, but you are literally Waluigi with glasses. Like, you are literally Waluigi with glasses. Like, and no stash. Like, come on, man. You cannot just be throwing out sex criminal like that on Waluigi. That's your fucking talking about with America. Like, that guy should be in prison for attempted murder. Like, I'm not kidding. And abuse of power. What the fuck is going on here? Like, oh, the person didn't pull over immediately. And like, we live in a society where they could figure out what your phone number is, right? Like, if somebody isn't pulling over, your license plate is connected to your name. Your name is connected to a fucking phone number. They could call you on the phone and be like, hey, why aren't you pulling over? Like, there's so many things they could do. Or they could just go, we'll wait for the person at their home. Do some investigations. Do some, I don't know, police work. Like, it's absolutely fucking insane. Should be a scandal. It should be a nationwide scandal. This is how fucking broken our society is. If the cops kill anyone, it should be a fucking scandal nationwide. We should be going like, what the fuck happened that they killed someone? The government killed an American citizen or resident without going through the proper channels and confirming their guilt. Now, I'm not saying that every single time the cops killed someone, it would be unjustifiable, but we should be focusing on 0 deaths by government action against citizens. America is so fucking weird. It's like, can we find any excuse for why it might be okay? Anti-grave. There, I said it. I'm pretty anti-grave. I think the only compromise I would have is if you were having like, if you were trying to increase green space and you had cemeteries that were also forests. So like you got buried and they planted a tree above your grave. Like that would be fine by me as long as that would then permanently become forest preserve, right? But I do not like I don't like cemeteries. I think they're fucking weird and they're stupid as fuck. Like just having weird, like creepy statues of angels for someone who died 150 years ago and has no one that is visiting. It's just fucking weird. We don't need that shit. Graveyard forest. Yeah, that would be fucking sick. Biodegradable coffins. Exactly. And you plant a tree. I would be okay with that. But I don't, you know, and then you could have the GPS coordinates of where people were at. Maybe you could put a bronze plaque or something and you can nail it into the tree or whatever the fuck. Maybe you could put a stake in the ground next to the tree, but there's no fucking like, this like cemeteries that we just have. That's fucking weak, crowded with trees. You underestimate how many bodies there are in a cemetery. No, I do not. No, I do not. I'm saying we end cemeteries, period. But we also need to have more forest land. We need to reforest areas. So we dedicate forest areas. And if people want to have a grave site, they could have it in the forest reserve, an area of the forest reserve, as a way of doubling the use of the land. We should be
to go into the tanks and become one better is to achieve enlightenment. Chairman Shen Jiyang, SS on Mind and Matter. It is every citizen's final duty to go into the tanks and become one with all the people. Chairman Shen Jiyang, Ethics for Tomorrow.
Yes! My favorite character in Alpha Centauri, the human hive. But Mike, have you thought about how many haunted forested parks you would be creating based?
That is not my future. I'm not going to be buried in a grave. When I'm dead, just throw me in the trash.
Honestly, based.
Okay, first, keeping all those people safe is quite literally a police...
Now, for me personally, at the center of the forest preserve, you should have a very large marble mausoleum. For me, you know, because I came up with the idea of the forest cemetery. Okay, like, you know, at the center could be a big marble mausoleum for me. For everyone else, haunted forest. Okay, Michael is a bit. I need to realize that no one ever gets this idea that it's a bit. People legitimately think that I am like an egomaniac. They don't get that I'm doing a bit. I've actually started to realize that people think that I'm an egomaniac. And it's like, I don't really think that I should get a marble mausoleum in the center of the cemetery forest because I came up with the idea of burying people with a tree on top. Like, come on. Jesus. Notably, Vladimir Lenin was elected to the Constituent Assembly from the Baltic Fleet District after nearly a half-century of fascist rule on Portugal. All right, hold on, let me talk about it. Salazar had a stroke in 1968. It was replaced by Prime Minister Marcelo Caetano. I can't speak Portuguese, chat. And with political repression against communists and anti-colonialists. And just by December 1973, it became clear to several military officers that colonial war was unsustainable and the only solution is to end would be a political one. A bunch of left-wing military officers formed a commission to prepare a military coup to topple the regime. Like, this is just... There's always been contradiction and like when you have an imperial core country, you should read more about the Cardassian Revolution because it's really interesting. The point is that, I'm sorry, this isn't about moral posturing about how much you're a better person because you never served in the military or whatever the fuck else. I need people to like grow the fuck up.
Susan Brothers, thanks everyone for being here. We're from the organization March Forward. We are here to say to all those serving in the Army and the Marines and the Air Force and the Navy that you have the absolute right to refuse to take part in these criminal wars, and that's a right that all of you should exercise. You have no reason to go put your life on the line and kill and die for profit. We've been to Iraq, we've been to Afghanistan, and we know what these wars are really about. And we joined the military for many reasons. Because we need a college education, because we need a job, because we need health care. And then we join the military, and they tell us that our enemies are poor people in caves in Afghanistan, or poor people in the deserts of Iraq. But we've been to those countries, and we know that our enemies are not other poor people abroad. Our enemies are the people that laid us off from our jobs, that denied us health care, that make it impossible to get an education. Our enemies are not in the poorest countries on the planet, but right here in the richest one. The occupations of Iraq and Afghanistan alone are costing over $700 million every single day. This is a crime every single day, while so many of us are hurting. Well, I think all of us here and the vast majority of people in this country would agree that we can spend $700 million a day better than bombing people that we have no reason to bomb. We can spend $700 million a day rebuilding those countries we've destroyed. We can spend $700 million a day caring for the veterans we get home when they get home, and then we can spend $700 million a day giving every single person health care, a college education, a job, and a livelihood, and a home. That's who we need to be spending our money on. But this government is not going to do that. They're not going to use the money in that way. They're not going to end the wars. And they're not going to do it because it's not our government. It's their government. It's the government of the rich. It's the government of Wall Street, of the oil giants, of the defense contractors. It's their government, and the only language that they understand is shutting down business as usual. And that's what we're doing here today, and we're going to continue to do until these wars are over. It's crystal clear now that these wars are going to continue and expand and go into other countries. That is the trend. That is what we know, that there is perpetual war, and it's only going to stop if the people stand up and stop it. And that's what we're going to do, sisters and brothers. A lot of people ask me, what do we do? Because we all know things are bad. We all see the atrocities on TV. We read about it. We experience it. People always ask, what do I do? Because we always want to know what to do. Do we vote? Do we support a politician? Do we join an organization? What do we do? Well, I'll tell you what we do. It's simple. We fight. We fight, and we fight, and we fight, and we shut down our workplaces, we shut down our schools, we shut down the streets, we shut down business as usual, and we fight until we force the people in there to do what the people out here want. Because that's how we're going to get around, and we're going to fight until there's not one more bomb drop, not one more bullet fired, not one more soldier coming home in a wheelchair, not one more family slaughtered, not one more day of U.S. imperialism. So let's fight to make that happen. We can do it today, and in the days ahead, we have to fight to end these wars and create a better world, sisters and brothers.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show. I personally, and I don't say this as some sort of like Plattner defense. I'm pushing back against the idea of, oh, we should be anti-veteran in the left. That's what I'm pushing back. That's a dumb fucking point. You're dumb if you say that. We should use peoples who have experienced imperialism and who are against it, and we should welcome them in as people that can express through their own personal experiences the vacuousness of American empire. Because the mainstream media is completely captured by pro-propaganda, pro-imperialist elements. Do you see what's happening with Venezuela? You have all these mainstream media from the center left to the far right promoting ideas about why we need to do intervention. All right, let's keep going. What was I saying? All right, oh, wait, deep cut Zohran Day.
Brothers, I would welcome that. We are both loudmouth freshman legislators, minorities in different senses. You're Republican, I'm brown, but yes, there are some differences. Some people.
And the difference between two parties is Lawler is being pushed up by the right wing because he's a far right guy and they love their base on the right. Republicans fear their base. Democrats hate their base. They have firsthand knowledge of how the sausage is made. If they saw what they saw, it radicalized them. Then them telling their story may radicalize others toward the left as well. Exactly. I don't want to do a Plattner thing because it's distracting. My point is, like, I see this kind of, like, quite frankly, sounds like teenage anarchism that is proliferating in some spaces on the online left. And I want to push back against it. Like, if you're a red diaper baby, that's fine. Oh, thank you, VO. Yeah, they need a little bit more time usually. If you would, please. Thank you, dear. Will do. VO was making me some steamed buns, chat. And we have this recipe. And the recipe doesn't have them steamed for long enough. The recipe is like wrong. So the buns are not done. Is basically. I've made the same recipe, so I know. So it's like, oh, they're not even warm. They're not cooked. They're raw. Theo is a really good cook. I've just done this recipe the other day, and I know it. I know that it's not good. What is your opinion on Prop 6 in New York to align city elections with federal elections? I think it's bad. I think it's bad because basically what happens is the money that will be required to try to run a campaign is going to be crowded out by the presidential elections. And so it'll be so much more expensive to try to run people for like local office. It'll increase the power of billionaires because you're not going to be able to compete against the presidential ad spends and like congressional ad spends. Seems bad.
So President Trump says the government shutdown could be ended if Republicans take the, quote, nuclear option of ending the filibuster. Told 60 Minutes, quote, the Republicans have to get tougher. If we end the filibuster, we can do exactly what we want. He also posted about that desire on Truth Social. The move is something Senate Majority Leader John Thune has said he's unwilling to do. Meanwhile, the Trump administration has until noon today to update a federal judge who ruled last week the Agriculture Department must disperse SNAP benefits after nearly 42 million Americans lost benefits on Saturday because of the shutdown. A Rhode Island judge says the administration must either make a full SNAP payment by the end of the day today or a partial payment by Wednesday after the White House reversed a plan to use a $5 billion contingency plan to keep the program running. They have the money. Over 42 million Americans rely on SNAP, and the shutdown has led to long lines at food banks and emergency food distribution centers. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins says the contingency fund won't even cover about half of November's SNAP needs. Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said SNAP payments could be made as soon as Wednesday, but that the government had to figure out what the process is to make such payments.
You know, Claire McCaskill, a lot to talk about there, and we're going to be going to new polling very soon that show most Americans do blame Donald Trump and the Republican Party for the shutdown. But before we get there, just let's talk about the filibuster for a second. One of the reasons why John Thune's saying, we don't want to go there. It seems every time a party's in power, they say there are some people that say they want to end the filibuster. It happened when Joe Biden was in power. It happened when Donald Trump was in power before coming from Donald Trump.
An American is no different than an Australian. An Australian is no different than a Brit. A French person, like you guys are all imperial core. There's no difference whatsoever. You are all exactly the same. If you're from the first world, it's not just America, and Americans are not especially evil. All Westerners are the same. So Australian veterans are the same as American veterans. It's all the same shit.
He's saying it again, and yet the Republicans, this does seem to be one area where they understand that turnabout's fair play, and what they do unto the Democrats will soon do unto them.
Yeah, I think people need to remember that the Senate is one place you can't gerrymander, which means we are always going to
It was already gerrymandered. The Senate was already gerrymandered. They were gerrymandered when the states came in because the Senate is a like the entire process of admitting states was political. All right, chat. Thank you, Vio. We have ourselves some more bao buns. Some steamed buns from Vio. Ooh, thank you. Where are these from? I'm honestly an animal. I'll just eat them with my hands. Thank you. Oh, this admin could fuck up on a rope. No half measures. Pay the whole fucking thing, you cowards. People need to show up and be pissed off. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should do any kind of like side deal. When I talk about like the Senate itself, I was talking about the Senate as gerrymandered. Dakota used to be the Dakota Territory. But the Republican Party split it into North and South Dakota for the express purpose of getting 4 Republican senators. It was gerrymandered. It was split into multiple territories for the express purpose of getting more Republicans. So we are basically stuck with the gerrymander that happened in 1889. Sorry, I looked it up. I thought it was 1890. It was November 2nd, 1889. So anybody saying, oh, the Senate is not gerrymandered, doesn't know their history. Yes, we did watch the Last Week Tonight video. And that is the reality that we all need to face, is these people are dumb as fuck and they don't know anything.
have states where the power will go back and forth.
Yeah, I saw that star
look
flare.
at a state like Pennsylvania, where you have Josh Shapiro, a really strong Democratic governor, but Bob Casey lost in Pennsylvania to McCormick, and that's what helped the Senate get its majority. Well, Pennsylvania
lost because Harris drove down turnout among the base and the youth with her Zionism.
Pennsylvania is still Pennsylvania, and going forward, there's a good chance that Democrats could win back that seat. Same thing in Ohio, same thing in other states. So when that happens, those Republicans in the Senate know that The Senate being the Senate is over. They are the House. It is just who's in power, even by a hangnail. And that means they have everything and the other party has nothing. That is not the way the Senate has worked through history. And frankly, it's really bad for our democracy because the only place you have a chance to get compromise and lasting policy changes, that's the Senate.
So according to the latest NBC News poll, 52% blame the GOP and Trump, while 42% blame Democrats. 4% blame all parties involved. And Joe, you know, in interviews past, Donald Trump has said it's the president. If there's a shutdown, it's the president who really
He's always said it's the president's fault.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also in that poll, Democrats appear to have an early lead when it comes to next year's fight for control of Congress. 50% of Americans want the Democratic Party to control Congress versus 42% who want Republicans to have full control. As Joe mentioned, roughly 2/3 of voters say the president has failed to meet expectations on the economy. Another 2/3 say he hasn't lived up to expectations when it comes to looking out for the middle class, inflation,
those are just
and the cost of living.
Deadly numbers. I mean,
Well,
they're just
affordability.
Yeah, they would be for any party, Dave Weigel. I mean, you show right track, wrong track, and then you show these numbers. I don't care if it's for the last Democratic president or the next Democratic president. You don't have to know the president's name.
The establishment Democrats are like, how do we minimize the political gains we make? How do we get the fewest programs passed possible? What's the bare minimum concessions we can promise?
You can look at these numbers and understand it's a problem for the party in power. Another reason why John Thune may be going, yeah, you know what, I think we may keep the filibuster. Because when you think about it, John Thune, since Barack Obama got elected, he's been in the Senate.
Dave, why is your mustache so uneven? On this side, it's above your mouth, but this side, it's like below your mouth. What the fuck? Dave, what did you do?
12 of the 17 years that he's been in the Senate, Democrats have had a president of the White House. So again, maybe Donald Trump and maybe 3 or 4 people that work for Donald Trump don't understand that there's this ebb and flow in American politics, and it comes usually every 2 years. But John Thune and Republicans understand that. And you look at these numbers, and right now things seem to be breaking against Republicans, certainly on the economy, on the right track, wrong track areas.
That's true. And what are Republicans not getting because the filibuster exists? They have found that you can get, if you control the presidency, a lot of your spending priorities done through the president deciding not to spend money through sending rescissions package to Congress. They already have no filibuster for judges. Democrats started that. Republicans sped it up. Thune reformed the filibuster just this year. Reformed Senate rules so they could have block confirmations of nominees. So they are speeding up the work of the Senate. The worry, if they're listening to Democratic candidates, I find more and more Democratic Senate candidates who are saying if they get there, they want to get rid of the filibuster. And why is that? They look at the Biden experience, before that the Obama experience, and think, how much more policy could we have passed if we only needed 51 votes? How much could we would have run on a higher minimum wage or a public option, or the things that just didn't happen because the filibuster exists? If Republicans are listening to Democrats, they expect them one day, a not more radical party, but certainly more radical in how they use rules, to change that rules. They don't want to make it easier for them.
But the filibuster guys, because the thing about Republicans is they've officially created rules where they can get all their policies they want passed through reconciliation. So tax cuts, deregulation, increasing military budget, the judiciary, all of that, bare majority. But any new program you want to create, well, no. You need 60 votes for that. They can get rid of everything with a bare majority, but you can't create anything without having a large majority.
It's the last full day of campaigning today. The final day of voting is tomorrow. Democrats banking on high-profile races, governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, and the New York City mayoral race catching a lot of attention. CNN chief data correspondent Harry Enton is here. There's a real mixed bag here as far as ideologies go, where you've got, moderate candidate in Virginia, and you've got a Democratic socialist in New York City. I guess the question is, how can they both be seen as bellwethers?
I mean, the common denominator here is Donald Trump, and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald.
It might lose New Jersey. What the fuck are you talking about?
Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. Zohran Mamdani, up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump. And all the Democrats lead from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponent.
By the way, chat, this morning, Spanberger launched an attack on Zohran. The day before the election, running an attack on Zohran. Amazing.
How much is he impacting the cases? Never mind that they want to beat him in their minds. It's sort of like, hey, this is to show you that we can beat you. But how much is he affecting these?
I mean, look, Donald Trump is a huge, huge drag in all of these races. Look at his net popularity ratings. In New Jersey, he's 11 points underwater. Virginia, 14 points underwater. Not much of a big surprise in New York. He's 35 points underwater. And I will note nationally in my aggregate polls, he's about 13 points underwater. In our CNN poll, he's way below that, which looks a lot like New Jersey, a lot like Virginia. So these races, in my mind, could be huge bellwethers going into next year to understanding how Donald Trump is impacting these races. He is a huge, huge drag in across the board, New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City.
Do these races tell us anything about the midterm as to what happens here and what might happen in the midterm?
Yeah, okay. So, I was mentioning, of course, Donald Trump being a huge drag, right? He's at his second-term lows, not just in our CNN poll, but across the different polls that we were looking at this weekend. And why is it that these races are so important? Well, go back through history. Jump in that DeLorean. Look at what has happened when Democrats sweep New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia governor. They won the U.S. House the next year 5 out of 5 times in the last 90 years. You go all the way back to the FDR administration. So the bottom line is this. When Democrats do well in these off-year elections, when they sweep New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City, historically speaking, that means they go on to win the U.S. House of Representatives the next time around. And when we're in this national polarized environment and Donald Trump is as unpopular as he is, I think that history is likely to hold if, in fact, Democrats do sweep tomorrow, which at this point looks more likely than not.
We will have to see. We also have some new polling numbers also that makes Democrats not look so good. So it's kind of like wondering whether this historic norm will stay as per usual.
And that, my friend, is why we go 365 years to find out what happens next year.
All right. Thank you so much, Harry.
Thank you.
Okay.
365 days, bro.
All right. You're there talking about Virginia.
I mean, my general take on this is there is very little value in this statement. There's very little value. In fact, I would say there's no value whatsoever. I think this is just air-filling bullshit. Virginia used to be a purple state 20 years ago. So there's not, I mean, like, things have changed substantially. It's just structurally, this doesn't really mean fucking anything, to be honest with you. And this is just soothsaying. This is like astrology for politics nerds. It's just air-filling bullshit.
Next year.
All right. Thank you so much, Harry.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. You're there talking about Virginia there. Many eyes are on that battle between Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Republican Winsome Earl-Sears. President Obama.
Winsome Earl-Sears is one of the weakest Republicans ever. Like, of course she's going to lose. Abigail Spanberger is not making anybody excited.
Hit the campaign trail this weekend to try and give Spanberger
just doesn't have any money
in this very final stretch.
Abigail's opponent does seem to care a lot about what and his cronies are doing.
Notice Obama is happy to campaign for a right-wing CIA agent. Probably the most top 10 most conservative Democrats in the House. Barack Obama's rallying there. In a deep blue state, by the way. You don't need to have that right wing of a Democrat win Virginia. The Democrats have officially put in a right-winger. Great job. Minimize the gains with your fucking anti-Trump energy. And of all the states in the country, Virginia is the most anti-Trump because guess why? There's a lot of federal employees who live in Virginia who have been getting fucked over by Doge, who've been getting fucked over by the shutdown. They're pissed at Republicans. And instead of running somebody with a bold agenda that'll actually make our lives better, they run the most right-wing Democrat they can find. What a political party. Minimize the gains, maximize the losses. The Democrats.
Virginia, you don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people she was elected to serve. You deserve a governor who will think for herself and work for you. You deserve a governor like Abigail Spanberger.
Joining me right now is Larry Sabato, the director for the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. It's great to see.
God, that's like the political equivalent of platinum tips. You know what I'm talking about, chat? Let me see if I can get frosted tips. Well, listening to Obama is like seeing this haircut. It might be coming back.
See you. So we heard
Man on the left. Thank you for the 5 tier 1s. Appreciate you, brother.
Harry Enton given his very.
I just realized something, chat. We are 4 hours into the stream and I forgot to shill. Fuck. Now, I know the economy is amazing and your job prospects are better than ever, but I don't run ads on this stream. So I need all of you to support the stream by subscribing at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you can attach that to your Twitch account. You get 1 free sub a month. That's your Twitch Prime sub. I need your motherfucking primes, because if you don't give them to me, that's $5, $6 sitting in Jeff Bezos' pocket. Take that value and extract it from Jeff's pocket and put it into mine. I don't want Jeff Bezos to be a billionaire. If I had my way, Jeff Bezos would lose 99% of his wealth minimum. So if you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it by subscribing. You could also support the stream by gifting subs, Socialism or Barbarism, Guileless Month, Ham and Fist. And chat, friendly reminder, when you subscribe to this channel, you make these guys very, very, very mad.
Hideous on the inside as he is on the outside, which is rare. Mike from PA, enemy of the show, this dick-riding communist, bad empanada, Mike from PA, and Frogan, fierce warriors. People like all these fucking journalists. Mike.
By the way, I know we haven't brought up Ethan Klein in a while, because guess why? He's got no fucking juice. Nobody gives a shit. He fell off. Nobody cares. He was just crying the other day about how no one watches their videos. What's the H3 sub count? I think they lost another 10,000 subs. You know, they're 20K. Sorry. Their viewership is down. They're totally flat. 9 million views over the last month. Back when they had Hassan on the show, 30 million. Those are the good old days. They're a third of what their size. They're down another 20,000 subs. Haven't had a positive subscriber day since October of 2023. We tried to warn you. We tried to warn you. Atlas Intel showing the New York mayor's race closer than any other pollster. Yes, they're dumb. Mamdani leads with 43.9% of the vote, while Cuomo trails close by at 39.4%. I want you to understand something, chat, that this is nonsensical. And Sliwa dropped 9 points in 3 days with absolutely no catalyst. Atlas Intel did a really good job in the 2024 presidential election. Atlas was a strong pollster in 2024 in an environment of depressed Democratic base turnout. Mamdani will maximize it. This poll is garbage. And they are a big outlier. Your poll is the biggest bunch of bullshit because I was able to respond to the survey from Instagram as a registered voter in another state who has never lived in the city of New York. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. I can't verify this reply. But one thing I can say is, if you look at the evidence, turnout is highest among 30 to 39-year-olds by percentage. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a depressed base turnout. This is hypercharged base turnout. Cuomo is fucked. Here's a map of early vote by party. Now, we can't completely rule out that registered Democrats are voting for Cuomo. But the highest turnout places are where Mamdani did the best. Let me see if I could get... Has anyone posted that? I think the highest early vote turnout was in the places that were the most pro-Mamdani in the primary. So, like, right now, I'm sorry, but GG no re. It's fucking Jover.
Enthusiastic take as he always does, Larry. What is the best possible outcome that you see for, let's just start, for the Democratic Party this week?
Well, I've had a little less coffee than Harry, so I would put it this way. Democrats are going to do well. They could have a sweep, at least of the top positions. That's very important. But the midterm elections are a year away. And in the Trump era, hundreds of things will happen in the next year that could affect how people evaluate him and how people evaluate the candidate. But
is there a chance that tons of Republicans are voting for Cuomo because they hate Mamdani that much? That's what the donors want. That's a really good question. We need help as soon as possible. Okay, so here's the crisis that Cuomo has. The donors understand that corporate Democrats and Republicans are the same. All right. The donors understand that. However, Republican base voters don't. They think that Andrew Cuomo he's been the big bad of New York City or New York Republicans for decades, right? They've hated Cuomo because he was on Fox News and they were trashing about Fox News. The Republican base voters are not sophisticated enough to do a strategic vote for Cuomo. The donors understand that Cuomo is the Republican in the race, and they're frustrated that Sliwa, who represents the Republican base, doesn't understand that. So the donors that really run the Republican Party are all behind Cuomo, but their base voters, they're not cooperating because Cuomo has been their boogeyman for so long. Now, some of them that are very sophisticated Republicans and who are connected to the elite, they are making the vote for Cuomo, right? They are making strategic votes. The Republican base voters are not used to making strategic votes like that. They've been used to kind of getting fed red meat. That makes sense. And so the whole strategy that you're talking about is not going to work. What are the chances Sliwa outperforms Cuomo? I would find that to be incredibly unlikely because Cuomo just has way more money behind him. I don't think that's going to happen. The polls don't show it. That would be a surprise.
The whole, Democrats desperately need a boost of enthusiasm and success. Nothing succeeds like success in politics and business. They have to start winning, and then people.
Nothing succeeds like success is exactly right. That's why Zohran winning. Like if you're a dumb fuck, moralist, lifestylist, you look at Zohran winning and you go, oh my God, Zohran sold out so much to the Democratic Party establishment. Guys, did you hear he hired someone who used to work in the Obama campaign or whatever the fuck? As if that means like everybody who works with Obama in the Obama campaign in 2008 is like as right wing as Obama. There's a lot of people that are basically not even involved in politics and they do very weak associational attacks that don't even work. Right? They're meaningless. The way Zohran Mamdani winning the election would be, and the way it will be received is socialist wins in New York City. Socialism wins. That's the way it will be received by the entire population. I've got plenty of criticisms from Zohran, but what you will see is Zohran Mamdani, socialism wins. Now, if you call yourself a socialist, that's a good thing. It'll be AIPAC defeated. Socialism wins. Muslim man. Millennial wins. Like all these things that are good for our political argument will happen. A lot more people will be like, wow, maybe socialism is something I should think about. The idea of socialism will go from a boogeyman and too risky to, maybe that could work for millions and millions and millions of normies. If you're a lifestylist, if you are like, I am the most moral person, my political views are perfect. I figured everything out. And if you don't agree with me, you're a bad person. If you're that type of person and you're like, that's why I do not support Mamdani. He's a sellout. You are fucking worthless. You are actually worthless. Nobody gives a fuck about your private moral stance. No one. So far, Zohran has not done anything that makes me think he's being driven by the centrists. He seems to be in control, and choices seem to be based on logical calculations. The only thing you could say is he's brought in some people that are like not necessarily as left-wing as he is into the campaign. Like, for example, Brad Lander, right? He has some people to his right that are campaigning for him. And he has said stuff like, I will arrest, the Tish thing is the only thing I've seen where I'm a little bit like iffy on it, where he's been like, I'm gonna, because Tish is a Zionist. So like, it's a little bit odd to have her continue on. That's the one like red flag for me where I'm like, why, but he's worried about having an NYPD mutiny, which would amount to a coup. So he's trying to head that off. This is way too much for stream, but this expert did a block by block prediction showing Mamdani at 52. I mean, this is I think this is an underestimation, but it's in my range. I said it's going to be between 52 and 60, and my number is 56. But if this were the result, that would be within the range that I have kind of said what I expect. More than 1 million votes, at least 52%. That would be what my expectation is. That's like the bottom range of what I think is going to happen. I predicted the results block by block. I mean, this is pretty deep. This is a pretty deep cut. It's so funny how the super rich are the Cuomo The Cuomo majority is where the super rich are. Park Ave. Oh my God, that's so funny. I don't think he's wrong. The fuck are you showing me Park Avenue in Barcelona? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck? Google Maps. Are you okay? What the fuck is... Okay, there you go. Jesus. Along the Upper East Side's capitalist corridor from Park to 5th Avenue, the wealthiest and oldest precincts in the nation, resistance to the 34-year-old Democratic Socialists will be pronounced. I don't think that's going to actually end up being the case. I don't think that's going to end up actually being the case. I think Mamdani is going to surprise people by doing better in the wealthiest precincts. Among these old, educated, and avowedly Zionist billion-dollar blocks, Mamdani hysteria has reached a fever pitch. Yet I expect everywhere else to be a sea of blue. The only question is what shade. It's going to be very dark. Man, he's saying... So I agree with this, by the way. I agree with it. Like, I largely agree with this. I think that he's overselling how well Cuomo's going to do among these areas. But having the Bronx, Mamdani at 50, I think he's underselling. I think Mamdani will be at 55. I think Mamdani will be 60 in Manhattan. I think in Brooklyn he'll be at 65. So he's like he's a bit under what I would say. The block by block analysis is pretty sick. The People's Republic of Authority, the heart and soul of the Kabi corridor, will inevitably turn out in large numbers to support their state assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, as will neighboring Long Island City and Sunnyside, a trinity of once white ethnic, now gentrifying neighborhoods that have helped remake New York City politics since 2018. The Kabi corridor and Mamdani's dominance will extend further east to the Filipino and Bangladeshi Woodside, a multi-ethnic immigrant polygon of Jackson Heights. The site of Mamdani's recent night workers press conference and civility engaged historic district, Mamdani will crush Cuomo among older progressive white voters further south, buried between cemeteries and expressways. I expect Sliwa to hold on to historically Irish Maspeth and historically Polish and German Middle Village, while Mamdani annihilates the competition in Ridgewood along the Brooklyn border. I mean, I think he's going to surprise you. I think he's going to surprise. Flushing in particular could be a fascinating battleground between Mamdani and Sliwa, whereas Cuomo will almost assuredly finish a distant third. Interesting. This is I honestly, this tracks. I think he's slightly underestimating Mamdani. I think again, as I said before, but this tracks. This is where I'm at. Cuomo's only chance of saving face, not even winning by getting over 40% of both Staten Island and the Bronx. This will not have. Oh no, he's not. He's not. Have I seen this? Nearly 1 million New Yorkers ready to flee. If this were to happen, I will move to New York City. If all the conservatives and corporate Dems flee New York City and it crashes the price of rent, I will fucking move. I will move to New York City immediately. If all the worst people in the world left New York City, it would be a fucking renaissance. It would be awesome. 9% of New Yorkers sharing that they would definitely leave the city if Mamdani is elected. Bro, this is like one of the funniest things that everyone always says, but then never happens. This is just a way of expressing how much you really don't want something to happen. And 9% of New Yorkers are mad that Mamdani won. Too bad, bitch. Eat shit. Oh my God, chat. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be ADHD, but someone just sent me H3 Ethan Klein's costume for Halloween. He literally made himself, he went as Kaya. He literally made himself Hassan's bitch. He literally made himself Hassan's bitch. Oh my God. He's literally Hassan's bitch. Come on, man. You gotta have self-respect. Not literally. Kaya is not a bitch. She's not a breeder. I don't think you have to be a breeder to be a bitch. I thought it was just any female dog. Yeah, it's just a female dog, wolf, fox, or otter. I don't think you have to be a breeder. It's just a female dog. He's so thoroughly cucked that in his mind, going as Kaya, an animal who is Hassan's bitch, but who loves, adores Hassan, that's like a funny Halloween costume. Like he feels like he got him because people spread a lie that Hassan shocked his dog and people bought the lie. It's almost the psychosexual tension, the obsession. Can you imagine Hassan going as anything H3 related for Halloween? It never crossed my mind. I know all the people who Ethan Klein is obsessed with, and not one of us thought about Ethan Klein on Halloween. Not one of us. The people that are being sued by Ethan Klein, none of us thought about Ethan Klein. We were doing our own things and having our own Halloweens, having fun. Like, all of the people being sued by Ethan Klein, not one of them was like, I want to make an Ethan Klein themed Halloween costume. He is so fucking obsessed. He's such a fucking loser. Holy fuck. I'm sorry, Chad. I just had to make that comment. Somebody sent me that he was going as Kaya for Halloween. And I was like, he literally made himself Hassan's bitch. His fantasy, when you could be anything you want, was to be Hassan's bitch. Ethan Klein's fantasy, when you could be anybody, you could be anything. Magical, fantastical, or real life. He chose to put himself in clown makeup and fantasize about being Hassan's bitch. How is this real? How is this real? I mean, this is psychically cucked. Hassan was Superman, by the way. Yeah, Hassan was Superman. I was Luigi. Luigi was my costume. This is insane shit Ethan's doing now. I'm so glad of that follow. Nobody is. No one gives a shit about this. I'm just pointing it out because I want you to know, Ethan Klein, that you are psychically cucked. Oh, that's incredible. Holy shit. Anyway, thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals, for all the support, all the subscriptions. I really do appreciate it. Oh, wait, what? Okay. It's extra lame because it's not even the right color dog. You expect these multimillionaires to put effort in?
Will feel better about them.
It is as basic as that sometimes. It truly is. Then best case scenario for Republicans come election day is?
We did not
the
watch
best
60
case
Minutes.
would be pulling off an upset in New Jersey and winning that governorship. And New Jersey, while still Democratic, has been moving more in the Republican direction. Maybe also picking off the Attorney General's post in Virginia. The Attorney General candidate for the Democrats has been involved in scandal. And so that is hurting him, and he will do worse than the other candidates on the statewide ballot, but we don't know whether it's bad enough to lose. And Proposition 50 in California, that's important because it sends a signal about the voters' view of redistricting. And if it's a big vote, some polls have had Proposition 50, which the Democrats favor, going over 60%. If that actually happens, I think it could also encourage Democrats for the coming year.
Yeah, and that then gets to kind of the eternal question always, which is how much of a bellwether is any race looking ahead at the next? How much can anyone, do you think, read into the results come tomorrow when they look towards midterm election now 1 year away? As you said, 100+ things is going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, well, my rule, and I'm old, is it should tell you a lot until the Sunday shows. The next Sunday.
It's John Wayne Gacy clown makeup. Did I close it? Did I close it again? I closed it. God damn it. How come they stream for 3 hours and they're always stuffing their face? Like, you know, it's one thing to get a stack when you're doing like 5, 6, 7 hours, but when you're doing a 3-hour stream, I think you can manage not to stuff your fucking face. Jesus Christ. Do it during a break. It's actually shockingly similar to John Wayne Gacy's makeup, except instead of like blue triangles, he, I guess, put blue stars of David to support Israel. I guess he was supporting Israel with this, which I don't know, man, but like, god dang, dude, psychically, you are not okay.
These shows, you should have a great prediction gambit, everybody participating with very, very fixed suggestions about the future, and then you let it go as of Sunday, and then real events in the current day.
It's great to see you, Larry. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
This morning, we're in that final countdown to Election Day, and in two closely watched races, the front runners are offering sharply different paths forward for Democrats. In the New York City race, I know you've heard a lot about this mayoral race. Zohran Mamdani has sprung to political stardom with his upstart campaign as a Democratic socialist, while in Virginia's governor's race, Abigail Spanberger, a former congresswoman and CIA officer, has laid out a much more moderate vision, even enlisting former President Obama in the last stretch of her campaign. CNN's Isaac Dovere joins us now. This is a major sort of identity test in some ways. I have to say, I was out this weekend, and the lines for early voting were insane. Like, they were the longest I've ever seen them here in New York.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of excitement for Mamdani, clearly, but as I write in this piece that's up on our site right now, only in the Democratic Party, given the identity and existential crises that it's going through, could you have the two clear frontrunners going into races for tomorrow be Zohran Mamdani, as you described him, and Abigail Spanberger, as you described her.
Abigail Spanberger is basically running against no one. And no one gives a shit about Abigail Spanberger. No one is like going, oh my God, yay, Abigail Spanberger, she's gonna lead the Democratic Party. It's 100% corporate donor manufactured shit. She's running against a non-entity because the Republicans already won when she won the primary. They already got the most right-wing Democrat they could manage. So what do they have? They don't care.
These are different people offering very different visions of what the future of the Democratic Party is.
By the way, Chad, this Isaac Dovere guy is an unrepentant Zionist and a virulent anti-leftist. Just so you know who's talking.
Spent some time in Virginia on Friday, riding around on the bus with Abigail Spanberger, going to events that she was at, talking to her about it, and she was very clear that she thinks, and should say a lot of other Democrats believe what she's saying, the model that she's put forward in a state that is much more competitive as an incumbent Republican governor is more what the future of the Democratic Party writ large should look like. Even as Mamdani, we see these shots that have been going of him, this march across the Brooklyn Bridge, the energy and passion that he's excited. But one of the things that Spanberger said to me is that when I said to her, you don't have a proposal for government-run website, grocery stores on your website. And she said, that's because I couldn't pass it. And she said, when we talk about things that this Democratic Party is talking about, we have to not say, we tried it and it didn't work. She said to me, people believed you. Vulnerable people believed you. And that is something that Democrats need to watch out for, she said, in the immediate, as they're facing an emergency circumstance she sees with Donald Trump, and going into the long term when voters think about what Democrats have actually done for them.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when you look at this, because some people look at this, and I wonder if you do as well, is that New York is a singular place. It's got a very...
New York is a singular place! So basically the centrist Democrat plan is to be like, Abigail Spanberger, she won in Virginia. That means we should go to the right. Nobody was talking about her and nobody cared that she was running against a non-entity. But Zohran Mamdani, New York is just lefty loons.
An interesting and different population than, say, somewhere in Virginia or somewhere in Florida. How do you sort of link the two?
Look, I mean, I was with Spanberger on Friday. I've been in New York City, going around on Saturday and Sunday. I grew up here. Yeah. A lot of New Yorkers think about New York as the center of the universe. Yes. That is sometimes how things can feel with politics. But Virginia is a very different place. The country is a very different place overall than New York City is. And I've seen that as I've covered races all around the country, despite growing up about 20 blocks from the studio. And the question is, what will appeal to voters that are maybe like New York City voters in some ways and maybe much more like Virginia voters in some ways? And whether it's passion that Mamdani is exciting or some of the policy ideas, that's the continuing conversation that the party's going to have coming out of these races.
Mamdani is very much energizing the youth vote.
For sure.
We'll see if that's what happens in some of these other races as well. Yep. It's all very interesting, and it all begins tomorrow. Isaac, thank you so much. I know you're going to have a long couple of days. Right.
All right, we need some democracy now, chat.
Tuesday is election day all over the country.
When Eric Adams won in 2021, Schumer was all set to declare him the future of the party. He endorsed Eric Adams 5 minutes after he won the primary, chat. And he never endorsed Mamdani.
Early voting just ended in New York's mayoral race this weekend, with 735,000 ballots cast. It's the highest early voter turnout in New York's history for a non-presidential race, something like 4 times the number of people who usually vote in early voting. As the 3 candidates for mayor, Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, and Republican nominee Curtis Sliwa closed out their campaigns, President Trump told 60 Minutes he's not a fan of Cuomo, but would pick him over Mamdani Mamdani, who he called a communist. Meanwhile, the New York Times reports former President Obama told Mamdani in a private phone conversation Saturday his campaign had been impressive and offered to be a sounding board. Zohran Mamdani's mayoral campaign has energized communities across New York City in unprecedented ways, mobilizing nearly 100,000 volunteers for his campaign. Democracy Now!'s Anjali Kamat has been following a crucial, often overlooked portion of Mamdani's base, working-class South Asians.
It's Friday afternoon in a quiet neighborhood in Kensington, Brooklyn. These women are members of Drumbeats, an advocacy group for low-income South Asian and Indo-Caribbean communities here in New York. And they're getting ready to canvass for Zohran Mamdani.
So half of the list is going to cover with them, then they will find them.
They split up into groups, and I followed them as they knocked on dozens of doors. Armed with colorful flyers about the campaign in Bengali and Urdu and dozens of Zohran pins, they explained why they thought Mamdani was the best candidate and reminded neighbors about early voting times and locations.
So November 4th is a final vote. Assalamu alaikum.
Their enthusiasm was infectious, often bursting into Bengali chants of "My mayor, your mayor."
Chad, do you think these people are easy to poll or hard to poll? Do you think these people are expensive to poll, or do you think this is cheap and easy to poll? I'm so excited for tomorrow, chat. I'm so excited. Did you play the mega viral Arabic ad yet? Holy shit, 690,000 likes? Fucking hell. Oh my god.
مرحبا، أنا اسمي زهران ممداني وعم رشح حالي ليكون العمدة الجديد في مدينة نيويورك. بعرف شو عم تفكروا، شكلي كأني سهركم من الشام، بس العربي تبعي بده شوية شغل. مع هيك أنا حابب اليوم أطلب دعمكم يوم 4 نوفمبر. العيشة بنيويورك صارت غالية للكل. ازيك يا باشا؟ كل شيء تمام؟ وصار صعب نعيش فيها ونربي أولاد. أنا كعمدة رح جمد الإيجارات لأكثر من 2,000,000 شخص وخلي الباصات سريعة ومجانا وأضمن رعاية الأطفال شاملة لكل العائلات. ويمكن ما فيني أقنعك إنه الكنافة النابلسية بستانوي أطيب من نيوجيرسي، بس بوعدكم إني رح أشتغل بكل جهدي لأسهل عليكم بفتح مشاريعكم الصغيرة وتدفعوا إيجاركم وتبنوا مستقبلكم في مدينة نيويورك. التصويت المبكر مفتوح الآن حتى 2 نوفمبر ويوم الانتخابات يوم 4 نوفمبر. أنا منكم وإليكم، سنراكم.
That was a good one. That was a good one, yes.
I love that Zohran is doing the Buttigieg move where you just like repeat, you like get someone to like teach you how to say a few sentences on camera, and then you let everyone go, I can't believe he speaks 14 languages. He stole that move from Buttigieg. Buttigieg own! Did you see a Hasidic rabbi adore Zohran? I'm sure there's many of them that have endorsed him.
And for the most part, it seemed to work. I spoke to Fahad Ahmed, who runs Drumbeats, which stands for Desis, or South Asians, Rising Up and Moving. Their organization was among the very first to endorse Zohran's run for mayor last year.
Many people will say that, oh, well, it's a South Asian descended candidate, and so it must be an identity thing. But we've had several South Asian or Indo-Caribbean candidates, but none of them elicit this response. And I think the fact that the campaign spoke to the very material issues of working class people as first and foremost has really made a very significant difference.
I also spoke to Jagpreet Singh, Drumbeat's political director, who's in charge of endorsing political candidates and getting the vote out.
When Zohran had come to us to begin with, he said his base, the base he was looking at, were 3 planks. Number 1 was the leftist progressives. His second plank was rent-stabilized tenants. And the third was Muslim and South Asian communities. Communities that have not been previously galvanized, have not been previously activated, usually have some of the lowest voter turnout rates. So from the get-go, our communities were going to be a big part of his base.
Qazi Fawzia moved to New York City from Bangladesh in 2008. Now she's Drum's organizing director. The tireless campaigning by women like her was crucial to Zohran's victory in the primaries. In some neighborhoods, voter turnout among South Asian and Indo-Caribbean communities doubled.
You know what 49 is, right? 7 squared, because I am square. You know what the number is before 7? 6, aka 6-7.
Just 24/7, they're thinking how to win.
I love how 6-7 is now like, it's like dapping or dabbing or whatever the fuck it was called. Dapping? What was that thing you did? I never did it. Dabbing. Dabbing? I never did it. 6-7 is basically dabbing now. Because now, if I know what it is, it's over. Do a dab right now? I will never dab. I don't dab below 10,000 subs. You want me to dab? Give me the 10,000 subs.
Some of them work in the cafeteria and the school. Some of them also work in the retail store. Some of them are home health worker, take care of the patient. One of my leader actually restaurant chef. They are not only just volunteer. They build actually movement.
After a long evening of canvassing, they're back at the office only to get ready for more of the same, the next day and every day after until the elections.
These all tired people come together and creating movement to show the world how political campaign supposed to be look like.
$6-7 million. In June, we won the primary because of historic numbers of new voters that turned out. We changed the electorate.
Earlier this month, Zohran Mamdani addressed an excited crowd of supporters at a Bangladeshi restaurant in Jackson Heights, Queens.
Zohran Mamdani! What we did in the primary is we increased the turnout of Muslims by 60%. The turnout of South Asians by 40%. And when I stood...
This is the type of shit that centrist nerds that are, especially if they're white and say they're 23 years old or 22 years old and they've never worked in politics at all, but for some reason are on Chapo Trap House and Hasanabi broadcast, and I have no idea why, and I'm still struggling to understand why. Don't understand is that these numbers are not fixed. There is a large well of people waiting to be engaged into politics. You can't just look at previous elections and then that be it. You need to understand that politics is almost it's an emotional, communal experience. And if you are not connected to these communities, you will not see this wave coming. That's why anybody who says, for example, that AOC is a bad choice for the left is an incompetent rube. AOC is not that well known, actually, to regular normies. She's known to all political people on the left and the right, but she's not known to normies. Bernie Sanders is known to almost everyone, and he's popular. AOC is not as well known as Bernie Sanders. And this is something that a lot of or Zohran is another example. A lot of these kind of like nerdy, white, no political experience ass motherfuckers don't seem to recognize that there is a large room for growth and there is unpredictable turnout spaces. And Zohran, what makes him special is not only is he changing minds among the typically political, he's engaging with communities that have been left behind, and they're going to show up and they are going to shock the fucking world.
In front of the world and gave a speech that night. I made sure to remember the Bangladeshi aunties that knocked on the doors across this city. And people have asked me, what will it mean to have a Muslim mayor? What my grandmother Kulsum taught me, that to be a good Muslim is to be a good person. Yes. It is to help those in need and to harm no one. The truth of this campaign, it is a truth that believes in each one of the people in this room and their possibility. It is the truth that looks at the youngest among us and sees that they could be anything in this city. Yes. Anything they want.
At the Jackson Heights Farmers Market that weekend, the high school students who met Mamdani at the restaurant were still thinking about his words.
If I could run for mayor, I think I would have a lot of great ideas. Just like Zohran, making New York City affordable. I want to be able to live here without any worry about paying rent. I know I'm just 17, but I want to be able to move out next year and experience living in the city, because I know even for my family, it's really hard to pay the rent. So, yeah.
Mohini Mehbooba is one of the youth members of Drumbeats. A talented artist, Mohini was giving people henna tattoos that spelled Zohran.
We work so hard, phone banking, canvassing, and I love doing it, and I'm going to do some more today, hopefully. And it's just a really good feeling to do something that will be able to change for us as well.
ঠিক আছে, thank you so much. এবং সবাইকে বলবেন বন্ধু বান্ধব।
At the Drumbeats office in Jackson Heights, there's a different
Bro, like this is, dude, can you imagine if we had a left-wing president?
Group of people phone banking every afternoon. They're reaching out to communities
It
in
would
a
be like Claudia Sheinbaum. They'd have a 70% approval rating. If we could actually get them in office and with Democrats that would vote for their fucking policies, it'd have a 70% approval rating. What separates the left from the center left is the left is about concrete, measurable progress. The center left is about nudging the status quo. That's the difference. Like if you elect a left winger, if they're doing their job, you will see brand new high-speed rails going up between major cities. You will see schools being built. You will see post offices being built. You will see new airport terminals. You will see shit sprouting up in your lived experience. You'll see the streets getting cleaned and the potholes being filled and the homeless being housed. Like you, that is it. It will be an apparent, direct experience of improvement that you will not be able to deny. Oh my God, kill me.
Satisfying to say we've got to be incremental, and I'm not advocating incrementalism until we win back majorities in the Senate and the House and take the White House. That may just be where we are.
I have never seen a politician who is less charismatic than Kamala Harris. Like, I legitimately zero risk, but it's so fucking awesome because she's such a narcissistic freak. She's gonna run again, and it's going to split the centrist vote, and it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Never satisfying to say we've got to be incremental.
It's never satisfying to say we've got to be incremental. No shit, because it sucks. And it's not true, except in the most stretched version of the word incremental.
Languages, with volunteers making calls in Nepali, Urdu, and Bengali. A group of high school students are also making calls, in between joking around.
Hey, my name is Sami, and I am a high school volunteer for the Zohran Mamdani's campaign. Have you ever heard about Zohran Mamdani? Are you planning to vote for him on the election day, November 4th?
High school student Miftahun Mohona explains why she's passionate about campaigning for Zohran Mamdani.
Even though I'm not at the age to vote, not yet, I still care about like people above 18. They like for them to vote for Zohran, because the thing is, if they vote for the right person, that also benefits me, because I live in a world where it's very corrupt, and every action that the people over 18 taking, like voting, their action means a lot to me as well, because I come from a working class family. We don't have many benefits. We don't have much resources.
Across working class South Asian communities in the city, there's a deep belief that Zohran Mamdani will stand up for them if he becomes mayor. A big reason for that is his role in the taxi workers' protest against medallion debt back in 2021, when the drivers decided to go on a hunger strike. Assemblyman Mamdani joined them for the full 15 days. Qazi Fauzia remembers how moved the community was.
I saw how long he's doing the hunger strike, and he almost dying that time. So I feel this call actually real solidarity, not just come and talk and leave. Solidarity also, he put his body frontline.
Drum, or Desi's Rising Up and Moving, was founded in Jackson Heights, Queens in 2000 as a membership organization of low-wage South Asian and Indo-Caribbean workers and youth. For most of its history, their membership has faced the brunt of domestic repression and hate crimes that followed the September 11th attacks. Qazi Fauzia found herself the target of NYPD surveillance when she started organizing in immigrant Muslim communities.
I came 2008 this country, and I used to work in retail store in Jackson Heights, and that time I'm doing volunteering, organizing with the drum, and one day I found informer behind me.
A few years later, as hate crimes against South Asian immigrants spiked again, many people suggested she stop wearing her hijab.
People asked me 2013, you should take off your hijab because it's not safe anymore. We saw how much isolation and fear community had after 9/11.
Jagpreet Singh remembers his Sikh family members cutting their hair and beards and wearing American flag T-shirts to stay safe after 9/11.
This is a reality we lived with for a long time, that we had to hide ourselves, that we had to retreat back, that we had to fight for everything that we wanted. And we're in this reality now, where Zohran Mamdani is about to become mayor of our city, a very outward Muslim man, South Asian, who is very much into his identity, who does not hide his identity.
From the shadows of post-9/11 repression and fear, the Mamdani campaign has given this community a new sense of political confidence and purpose.
So if you see now our member, our community member, our religious lead, our neighbors, all now talking for Zohran. If they go back the 9/11 era and they try to talk about Islamophobic, xenophobic thing, it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell. It's over. People are not going to go back the isolating zone anymore. If they try to implementing this, they will push back.
You remember what I said the other day? I think it was on Friday or Thursday. I talked about identity and politicization, and how I talked about how politicization is a one-way street for most people. Once you become politically engaged, once you become aware of your own power, you will not stop fighting.
If Zohran Mamdani wins the mayoral election, drumbeats like other progressive groups that backed Mamdani from the start could find themselves in a brand new role, collaborating with the administration to govern the city. It's been a long journey, from advocating for those on the margins to potentially having a seat at the table. Here's Jagpreet Singh again.
Talks about what the administration would look like are still a little premature, but the campaign and the administration has been very willing to work with organizations like ours at Drumbeats. It feels amazing to see that we now get to take up leadership, that we get to not only have a seat at the table, but run how our city runs. It's not just going to happen by him being in office, no matter how charismatic he is.
Qazi Fawzia says that if Mamdani wins the race, but is unable to keep his campaign promises down the road, their members will not hesitate to push his administration and hold their feet to the fire.
Zohran make impossible possible in his grassroots movement in the mayoral campaign. So Zohran have to keep his promises and fulfill his commitment, and we will be support all the time him. And also if he don't fulfill or keep his promises, we will hold him accountable.
In the event of a Mamdani victory, his administration will not face an easy path. People like Fahad Ahmed are already preparing for how to confront the many challenges and threats that may come, whether from the Trump administration or Wall Street and real estate interests.
On our side, there will be real challenges of trying to run a city as a left when we don't have extensive experience of doing that. But how it is that we govern, tending to the actual material needs that come up.
And this is why you will see some people that were like, you know, Obama staffers or Bernie staffers or de Blasio staffers, is you cherry pick the most left-wing people from prior administrations and then you use them to lever up to even more. This is what there's always lefties that find themselves at various positions. And if you don't know that, you're just not really involved with politics. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's one of the things that is really important is to understand that these positions are ones that are waiting for somebody to pull the levers in a direction of the working class. And they do work when you pull them. There is an underestimation of the amount of political space we have to operate in general, especially in a city like New York. There's a lot.
Up in day-to-day administration of the city, while having a vision that is transformative, that does believe that cities and society can be shaped differently and can function in ways that actually meet the needs of everyday working people.
But for now, the South Asian and Indo-Caribbean communities that have been pounding the pavement for Mamdani couldn't be more excited for a potential Zohran Mamdani victory and their new role in the spotlight.
We choose the future because for all those who say our time is coming, my friends, our time is now.
For Democracy Now!, this is Anjali Kamath with Nicole Salazar. Thanks to Rehan Ansari.
And special thanks to Charina Nadura. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube.
All right, chat, that is going to be it for me today. I just wanted to let you guys know that I have a new YouTube video that is being posted. I want to make sure that you guys check it out. How Mike predicted Zohran's primary victory. Mike was right. Make sure you go check that out. We're going to be premiering that very shortly. Everybody hop into that. Thank you, everybody, for all the support. We'll be here tomorrow. I think I'm definitely going to have a normal stream tomorrow, and then I'll figure out, you know, exactly how long we want to stream. I might do a very late night stream to kind of react to the victory. If, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear chat. The reality about election day is there's a lot of hype, but it's also a lot of waiting around and trying to read the tea leaves. So, funnily enough, Wednesday is usually the best day. All right, everybody. I'm going to send you guys, gals, non-binary pals. Thank you, Jaeger Larson, for the 5 gifties. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, everybody, for all the gifts. Ham and fist. I'm sending you over to Vio. Vio has more of an expose against the anti-Vio misogynists. So there's going to be more of a Vio expose. If you are interested in learning more about holding people accountable in this space for being misogynistic, for being Islamophobic, stick around and watch Vio's stream. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Solidarity forever, my friends. I'll see you all tomorrow, and get hyped. Make sure you get out there and vote for the socialists. Get out there and vote in Minneapolis. Get out there and vote in New York City. Get out there and vote in Jersey City. Thank you so much for all the support. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.